Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Good. All right. Okay. Hello. Sorry. Well. Okay. Welcome everybody to our OpenClaw Chicago night, and then with AI Collective. So I'm with AI Collective, and tonight's very happy to have Spech Sagar, and he came to our events, and then he was all excited. He said we have OpenClaw online right now, so can we do something in person? So this is the result of that conversations that happened 2 weeks ago. And then we just quickly pull this together. And of course, I also want to thank the Chicago Innovation Center. So how many of you is your first time at this space here? Okay, wow, so many of you. So just want to kind of quickly introduce, and I don't know if David is here. David is the architect manager of this new space. They are building up a new concept of co-working space. So I like to kind of like tell you to become aware of it and just tune in, because he shared some information with me. I think it's kind of very neat, very cool idea. So if you are looking for a co-working space, I think this should be very good too, and it's very convenient, right in the center of the loop. So, but I want to thank him. It looks like he's not here at the present moment. If he comes back, you can also approach him. He's very, very friendly too. And he's really into supporting the tech community, not just tech community, the community in Chicago in general too. So just want to thank that and Spatch again. So tonight is OpenClaw night in Chicago. And just want to kind of give you some ideas. So tonight we have already did our social networking and welcoming pizza. If you haven't got any food, I still think we still have food too, so and plenty of drinks. So thank you again to Spetch for sponsoring that. And then I'll just do some housekeeping, introducing you to AI Collective. And also a word from our sponsors. I'll have Spetch when Sagar comes back. He can say a few words about his company. And then we'll have two things. One is an intro to OpenClaw presentation, and then another one will be some demos too. How many of you are already actually working with OpenClaw? I'm curious. Yeah. So okay, wow, awesome. Yeah, that's great. So, and of course, we all know too, it's a bit of a risk too if you don't use it correctly. And there's something too in our organization that they're kind of super sensitive about the fact that we shouldn't even be talking about it. But I think actually we need to know more. It's like using guns. You don't, it's there for us to use, right? You don't want to hurt anybody. That's the thing. But that's the whole point. So that's why this is the purpose of this meeting is to become like like educational and also informing and encourage everybody to share information in a very responsible way. So that's that. And then we'll spend some time having some Q&A, and you can also like request if you want to see some more demo too. I think Spatch can actually do a couple more things for you if you like to. So that's the plan, and then some closing and social networking. But let me really quickly, okay, so this is just big thank you again. And then let me step through, and then I'll have Spatch come up to say a few words. Just wanted to say about the AI Collective, and we started off in 2023 because of generative AI. They started off Chappie and Pierce and Stephen in San Francisco, typical like startup, right? The Gen Zers, and so pretty amazing though. It's caught on really fast, and now we're growing globally. We have 180 chapters all over the world, all in all continents too. So I'm also the VP of Western Hemisphere. So I oversee all of Americas, like North, South, and Central America. And if you're interested too in anything, and we also actually have Daniel from there, and he's our new founder. Is Daniel here? Yeah, Daniel. Yeah, okay, thank you. So Daniel is you are in the education and helping founders with education too, right? Yeah, so thank you. And then also from AI Collective, we have Yukta, who is helping today too. And then who else did I forget? Nicholas, our university liaison from the University of Illinois at Chicago too. So those are the folks from the UIC, from the Chicago chapter of the AI Collective here tonight. And I don't know if Jonathan is here. He's supposed. Oh, Jonathan, I'm sorry, I didn't see you. It's very dark here. So Jonathan is our head of chapter. He founded the Chicago chapter in November of 24. So yeah, so Jonathan is here too. So thank you. And so these are just some statistics. As you know, the numbers keep growing too. We have over 207,000 members now all throughout the world. And all of these things, yeah, you can also read online to aicollective.com. And we have hosted over 1,000 events all over the world now since 2023. Okay, so our community, so these are just repeat of some of these things, and team members are the ones that help with running events like myself, for example, so over 600 plus now. And also we have partner organizations that are over 100 now, and we keep growing. And this is the same picture. As you can see, we're all over the world. And then what this means for you, that means more community. We want this to be a human-centered AI activity that we're encouraging everybody to do so responsibly too. So, okay, so if you're interested, please join the team. You can also fill in the form and let us know in here too and partner with us, all those good stuff. Okay, and today event is being live streamed on YouTube. So if you actually go to AI Collective live stream page, you also find that live link too. And I'll also blast it out on the Luma page for those of you who may need it too, right? And thank you to Chehu for helping us with the AV. Thank you so much. And then these are just our Chicago chapter leadership and volunteers. Like I said, Jonathan is here, myself is here, and then Nicholas too, here, and also Yukta for here tonight. And then Daniel too, but Daniel is just joined. So, okay, upcoming events. In April or May, most likely now looks like it's May. We like to do Microsoft Copilot too. So, but just stay tuned for that. Or GitHub Copilot too, that's what I'm referring to. And then also, we are partnering too with Chicago Java Users Group. So if you do like data streaming, Confluent will be here if you do Kafka, for example. They're doing a talk too in May, so week of May 12th or 14th. And then also near future, if you're really into deep development stuff, there's Modern. They are also they would like to come and do some presentation as well. So those are the things that we know. And there will be more events too. Those are just a small handful. And then some external events are this conference called Arc of AI in Austin, Texas, and that our Austin chapter is helping with that too, and I'll be speaking there as well. And if you will be going there and need a discount code, let me know. There's this discount code for that. And then also one note too, if you're in San Francisco, next week is Human X, the event. It's really huge too. So if you're going there, let us know because I think Daniel will be there too next week, right? Yeah. Okay. So that's that. And also too, one kind of pre-announcement to build up the momentum is Humans in AI Week on the first week of June, coming soon to a chapter near you. So please stay tuned. Okay. And then with that, if you have questions, please go to our website. We have aicollective.com. Chapters/Chicago is our chapter. Um, and then that's it. So thank you for your participation again, but we'll have Spetch come in and say a few words too. Yeah, so Sagar, thank you.
Thanks, Mary. Hey, everybody. So, apologies on the lack of chairs. We had no idea that this event would get this level of attention in 11 days of, right? 11 days of being open to the public. So, welcome all. I know I see a lot of curious faces. My name is Sagar, rhymes with Lager. I'm based here in Chicago. I'm founder CEO of a company called Spedge. We are an AI consulting organization. We work with companies to help understand where AI is being used internally, building strategy, and then we're full stack development capabilities as well, so we can help integrate AI into the organization. Lots of conversations now around agentic AI. What does that mean? What does it mean to take Chat GPT or Claude and get out of the browser and instead use it locally on your devices and on your computers? And what does that mean for your company from a cultural standpoint, from governance and security? And is AI going to become Skynet one day and take all of our jobs? And are we going to become just people that just hang out at home and not have anything to do? So we do a lot of that work, and we're proud to sponsor the event today. Star-studded event. We're going to learn a lot, and the takeaway is just a change of behavior to now get you acclimated with how agentic AI works, some of the safety considerations when you use tools like OpenClaw, and then the Q&A is a safe space for any of you that have questions on this stuff. I know that there's an onslaught of information that exists on X and on LinkedIn and on YouTube, but hopefully this is a space where you can ask some questions and get in touch with some of the stuff that we're talking about from an AI perspective. We are scheduled till, I believe, 8:30 today, and I'm going to jump into some slides. I know I hate being talked to with a bunch of slides from a presentation standpoint, so we'll try to make this super brief. But today's topic is going to be OpenClaw. Could I get a raise of hands again? Who has used OpenClaw or is currently using it today? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. For the live stream, folks, we got about 13 people that raised their hands. Very small group of you folks in the room that have used it. How many of you are hearing about OpenClaw for the first time tonight? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 folks. Cool. Well, you're going to learn a lot in the conversation we're going to have today. So our panel today is yours truly, Sagar Pandya, rhymes with Lager, and I'm just going to be here to MC this whole event. We got Devin in the corner here, Devin Erickson. He is the founder of Run Media. He's an AI architect, and he's really been building some innovation in OpenClaw. It's only been 2 months since this amazing technology came out, so he's been on the forefront of it. We also have Ben Fisher, who's the founder and owner of Happy Hippo. He's a very innovative HVAC business owner, but he has completely transformed the way that his business runs. And this guy is like bleeding edge OpenClaw. He's not a programmer, not a software guy, which actually I think you are at this point, given what you know. But I know the software engineers in the room are going to disagree with that. So he is a semi-software guy now. We're running behind, as you can see. We're going to start real quick with the quick Q&A. Let you guys ask some questions before we jump into some demos. And then we'll have some networking time at the end so that we can all share the amazing stuff that we talked about tonight. So 2025 was really the year of chatbots. and I always joke, I know that a technology has become mainstream when my 65-year-old mom asked me about the technology. I know that it has become mainstream. She did that back in 2009 when the iPhone came out, and she asked me, "What's an iPhone?" I knew that it had hit mainstream. Same thing happened with crypto, right? Crypto started what, in 2009, 2010. She came to me during the holidays in like 2018, 2019. She's like, "How do I buy a Bitcoin?" I'm like, "All right, this is totally mainstream now, right?" Same thing with AI and the existing version of ChatGPT. I very vividly remember holidays of 2024, not too long ago. She's like, "What's a ChatGPT?" I'm like, "All right, let me show you what this is." So I know that it is now mainstream, and most people have probably seen some type of chat bot, some type of large language model tool inside of a browser. And then something happened in December of last year. I think it was just like a weird time frame of how like Christmas and New Year's, you know, that week of time where nobody does anything. It's like no man's land, right? Just hanging out, have eaten too much. It's cold, right? You don't want to do anything, but you're like, scrolling social media, doing something at home. I think something happened. I think Anthropic said, you know what? We're going to give everybody free Claude tokens for like the last 2 weeks of the month. Everybody became a vibe coder. Everyone became a Claude expert in those last 2 weeks. 4 weeks after that, we all know that OpenClaw was released by Pete Steinberg, and that it has completely taken over all of the attention in the AI communities across the world. So 2026, we believe, is the year of the agents. And I swear we've had like an identity crisis, right? Claudebot, Moltbot, OpenClaw. Who remembers Moltbook? Crazy social media network that apparently a bunch of agents started posting that they're gonna, there's a social media site apparently called Moltbook, copying Facebook, where a bunch of AI agents supposedly, I don't know if this has been true or not, if everybody knows the secret behind it. Apparently, a bunch of AI agents, kind of like Reddit, would go on a site and talk to each other and post about how they want to escape their Mac minis and go run the world without their human overlords. There's a lot of comedy. It was funny, but that has just consumed the minds of people the last 3 months of this year. I can't believe we're already in Q2 of 2026. For those that are really aware of the AI ecosystem, there are other tools that have been scrambling to keep up with this. I swear to God, Claude and Anthropic, they release something every day. And I just watch the stock market tumble every time Boris from Anthropic makes a post on Twitter or on X, right? So there's a lot of other companies that have been scrambling to try to keep up with this craze around agentic AI. You got Perplexity that came out with Perplexity Computer. You could have your own opinions about it. It's generally okay to use. Manus, which Meta recently acquired not too long ago, which also created a agentic capability. You got, of course, Anthropic that has Cowork, which I think is a really good runner-up to OpenClaw, which we'll talk about and why we still feel OpenClaw is superior. OpenAI, this is operator agent. They keep changing the names. And I think Google created one, Mariner, and some other chatbots that they're creating in their Vertex platform. Everybody is rushing to create some type of agentic capability. And when I sit at family dinner, I now tell people I'm not doing any work. My AI agents do my work when I'm sleeping.
Right.
I don't have to be the one that executes anymore, because traditionally AI chatbots, you speak something and ask
Has
a
been.
question, it responds, and then you as a human, you're the vector of that action. You have to do the thing. Only recently now, Cowork has come out where they have plugins and they do some things on your behalf, semi-agentic. What we're showing you today is fully, in my opinion, almost fully autonomous, where you can have a task designed, approved, and then for the most part executed without your oversight, of course with guardrails. And that's the difference between chatbots and agentic capabilities. So why are we here today? Well, if you're like me, I track my sleep with my Whoop, and I will tell you, the more I go into OpenClaw, the less my sleep score improves over the weeks that I've been using this stuff. I don't want to go to bed. I can't sleep because I want to automate everything in my business. And my wife, who was supposed to be here, but she's sick and not feeling well, she always tells me, she's like, "Did you marry me or did you marry OpenClaw?" So I got to be careful with my time that I put in this amazing technology. What is OpenClaw? Let's talk real quick. OpenClaw is an open source AI agent platform. It's a software. It's open source. You download it on a device. Mac Minis. We'll talk about why Mac Minis are sold out everywhere. You can put it on a Mac, put it on a Windows device, put it on a cloud server. It's an open source system that allows you to spin up agents that are defined by a markdown file, which we'll talk about. And you connect in an LLM on the back end, right? Codex, Anthropic, Google, open source downloads. And it allows you to then manage agents to execute tasks on your behalf. So it's a software. It's the future. Everyone is now on this craze around agentic AI capability. And it truly is, in my opinion, the next evolution of how we can take advantage of large language models. Okay. And I think the stuff that we're going to talk about today does not require you to be a software programmer. It does not require you to be a technical individual. What it does require are two things. One is a curiosity for learning. Everything that you've been acquiring in terms of knowledge to do the work in the companies and the industries that you operate in has the potential to change. So, curiosity, number one. And number two, what I ask of all of you is a little bit of ambition. Don't let your lack of deep technical expertise scare you away and just think a bunch of us nerds are the only ones that can do this stuff. This is totally accessible for anybody in this room if you have the curiosity and the ambition to learn. And the content is out there. You can go on Twitter, you can go on YouTube. There's no shortage of the information. So you don't have to be technical. Just be curious, be ambitious. Ben, he owns an HVAC company. He's not a software programmer by trade. Some of the stuff that he's created is just unbelievably amazing. It's not perfect. There's rough edges. There's a lot of security issues that come up, so we want to be very safe and thoughtful. Don't give OpenClaw access to your bank account where all your savings are sitting and tell it to monitor your statements because it may hallucinate and do something that you don't want it to do. What's up with these Mac Minis? Who owns a Mac Mini? 3 people? 4 people? 5? Devin, we got how many? We got like 12, 13 Mac Minis right now that are running OpenClaw agents. You're probably asking, what's the deal with Apple? Why is there a craze of Mac Minis? For those that don't know, ever since OpenClaw came out and people realized you can run the OpenClaw software pretty efficiently on a Mac Mini. It's a little desktop from Apple. It's about $600. These are sold out. Can't get them on Amazon. I think there's a couple of week lead time from the Apple stores. I had to go pick some up for some customers because they want OpenClaws deployed. And literally the guy at Apple's like, why are you buying 3 Mac Minis, man? Is it for an OpenClaw deployment? I'm like, how did you know? So they already know what's happening. And the reason is a few things. Number one, Apple has built their own processing chip, their own silicon. They own the operating system. And when you converge the efficiencies of processors with the operating system together in the same company, you just get better efficiency, right? You could run cheaper hardware and still go much further with your agent deployments. These agents today don't need tens of thousands of dollars of hardware to run unless you have a local AI model, which totally not necessary. But Mac Mini becomes a really good alternative. Even if you're a Windows user, you don't have to be a Mac expert, or even if you're an Android person and you just don't like Tim Cook and Apple for whatever reason, Mac Minis are still the most budget-friendly way to run OpenClaw locally so that you have the ability to tinker with it and not create any type of unintended outcome that's going to cause something to happen inside of your life. You can also run OpenClaw as a software in the cloud. They call it a VPS, virtual private server. You could spend 10, 20, 50 bucks a month, but you're going to have compute bills forever. Your data is going to reside on somebody else's servers. Things can change, things can break. Especially if you're in an industry or you're trying to do something that has regulatory or jurisdictional restrictions, right? There's a lot of limitations on that. We run into that all the time where we have to decide where's the data going to live and how are you going to process this so it doesn't train the models, right? Mac Minis are a one-time purchase. Data lives fully in your home office or your actual office. You own the infrastructure. It's silent, fits in a closet. Really easy. What makes OpenClaw unique versus chatbots? Chatbots forget some of the information that you share with it. if you don't have any experience in Claude and Anthropic's platform, their sessions between chats don't necessarily know context from each other. So if you're talking about your favorite Papa John's pizza in one chat, and then you switch over to the difference between Sprite and Coke Zero, there's sometimes a mishap of that context. It doesn't get shared easily. And especially if you want multiple tasks to get done, it just creates a challenge for you because every session can start from zero. There's no shared memory in these chatbots. OpenClaw also allows you to own the data, not put the data in the cloud. Lots of people are getting sensitive to that because we don't know what these LLM providers are going to do with this data, right? They put up their two fingers. Sam Altman's like, Scout's honor. I promise we're going to be safe with it. How many of you believe that when he says that? Hopefully, no hands. Nothing against Sam Altman. I'm just saying, man, that guy, when he says something, I'm like, sure. I never believe what he says, right? So with OpenClaw, you at least have control. You have granular security controls over your information to prevent the leakage of information somewhere that you don't want it to end up. I've been hearing a lot about Anthropic's new tool, Claude Cowork, which is like a half step. It's like a half claw. I call it a half claw because that Cowork software still has to run on a machine. At least as of now, stuff changes every day. Probably be fixed by the time we leave this room. You have to have a machine that's online. It cannot hibernate, can't turn it off, can't close it and put it to sleep. The machine's got to run. And if you're using your daily machine, your computer, and it's always running and never rebooting, you're going to have a bad time. So what if AI lived in your building? Persistent memory, your own hardware, runs 24/7. You don't have to launch a browser. You don't have to wake it up from a sleep. You could be in another country and have your AI agent still execute tasks. And if you're a solopreneur that's in this room and you don't have budget or you don't have the resources to hire somebody, but you desperately need some help because you have to do stuff other than operations. You need help with sales, marketing. You need to manage your social media presence. You got to generate proposals, right? There's a bunch of things you have to do. This levels that playing field. It gives you the potential to create the execution without having to hire somebody for a salary. And that's just the reality, okay? The playing field has now been leveled. So what does that look like? You could set up an agent that has some type of schedule where, and everyone gives their agents names. You'll hear the names that Devin and Ben have given theirs. But 6 a.m., there could be an agent that monitors your inbox for all emails, sort them by clients, by internal, by spam, and by urgency. You could have it read qualified leads overnight while you're sleeping. It can look for new clients to pitch to, new industries to target. You can have a CRM updated, right? Anything you can do on a computer, OpenClaw can now do on your behalf, whether it's actually using the browser that you use or something called APIs or MCPs, which is just a fancy way for AI to connect into software without the user interface that humans are used to, right? So there's capabilities for that. And it's on demand. One example is, you can use Telegram. That's like a big option for folks that use OpenClaw where you can just message because Telegram usually is isolated. It doesn't have all your contacts and context, such as WhatsApp and iMessage and Google Messages. Telegram, Signal, these encrypted platforms create a little bit of isolation for you as well. This is just quick napkin math. It's not at all deterministic here, but the math here is this. If you're, a business owner or you want to hire somebody that's a virtual assistant, you're probably spending maybe $1,500 to $3,000 a month. If you annualize that, that's $18,000 to $36,000 a year. OpenClaw is an open source software. You buy the hardware, $600, maybe $1,000 if you want to get the M4 Pro chip. And then depending on the model that you're using, you could have intelligence for a couple $100 a month. So if you look at the economics of this, man, how can I create a 5-agent sales force that does all of my lead scraping, puts it into a CRM, and gives my one actual human salesperson qualified leads? How do I manage my LinkedIn content or my social media content 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? So the economics make sense. And of course, there's edge cases for everything. But this has been an excellent way to create some additional capacity for you if you don't have the resources to do so yourself. Now, I want to emphasize this. I'm going to put on my cybersecurity hat for a second. OpenClaw is really rough around the edges. This system, this capability, has only been around for a couple months, late January of this year. It's really rough around the edges. If you're not technical and you don't know what you're doing, I would highly advise you to work with someone that does or take baby steps. Don't read those sensational headlines on Twitter and LinkedIn that say, if you're not using OpenClaw to manage your bank account, your email accounts, what are you even doing with your life? It's just all engagement farming. Pay no attention to that stuff. Okay. You want to take this nice and slow. If you've never used an AI agent before, if you've never built software, if you're not the most technical person, I know that kind of contradicts what I said earlier, where you don't have to be technical to do it. Well, all I'm saying is take baby steps. AI models still hallucinate and make mistakes. So you want to validate anything before you make a decision. If you're making a decision on what stocks to buy, don't depend on AI output all the time because it could hallucinate and make things up. If you're using it to track something for your health or make some decisions that impact the livelihood of you as a person, be sure that you validate the information with a doctor or somebody that knows, because AI is still in that hallucination state. Okay. The people on stage tonight, Devin and Ben, they're not security practitioners. They're curious and ambitious. They learned, they took the baby steps. These guys are now sprinting with OpenClaw. Doesn't mean that anybody else in this room can't do that as well. But I want to emphasize, if you go down this path, be slow, be methodical. Don't just connect up all your email accounts and bank accounts. You're going to have a bad time. Okay. We talked about this. Who uses AI on a daily basis? For viewers out there, it's almost everybody. Who's on Chat GPT mainly? 3, 4. How about Claude? Who's on Claude? Most of the room is on Claude. All right, not surprised. Who's on Gemini? Anyone using Gemini? Oh, we got a great group of folks here. Gemini, Perplexity. Any Perplexity folks? Couple, right? Manus. Anyone using Manus? Got a couple Manus folks as well. All right. And who's using any local open source models? Any bleeding edge folks? We got 3 on the right, 4, 5, 6, 7. We got some open source people too. I love it. Awesome. So, just employees, I know we're not trying to replace people. We're not trying to cause societal disruption, but we just want to give people a chance to amplify their capabilities if they don't have the resources to hire employees. So, employees can say, I need a raise, I need PTO, I forgot to send the email. OpenClaw works 24/7. I don't sleep. And that's the conclusion of my slides. We're going to jump into questions now. Maybe I'll turn on the light. Devin and Ben will do a quick panel. And then we'll jump into demos right after that. So get your questions ready and let's have some dialogue. Oh, man, I know. Sorry. Lights. All right, Devin, do you want to quickly introduce yourself? And then Ben, introduce, and then let's get this panel going. Thanks, everybody.
How's it going, guys? My name is Devin Erickson. I'm the founder of Run Media. I own a Chicago media production company here in Chicago. And thankful to Sagar, he introduced it to me, OpenClaw, and basically him being my mentor in business was, as soon as it came out, he's like, send me the link. He's like, get on this. I know you got a Mac Mini. And I was new to it. I've been in AI for about 2 years, just using the normal chatbot. I use Claude. And I was very curious, deep studying AI, and I always wanted that step further of, could this do it by itself? Could I schedule tasks? Could I do a cron job? Could I figure out the heartbeats? I want more to this AI and capabilities. So OpenClaw came out and it gave me exactly that. Using it since it came out, again, I am not a tech person. I am not a software developer in no means. I did have some prior experience about 6 months when Claude Code came out. I ran it in my terminal. I said, wow, this is amazing. Started developing websites off of it, and then I started doing some SaaS products, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. But I wanted to take it out of the terminal and actually have it be on my phone. For people that know, Claude just came out with Dispatch. Really cool. You could use it through Telegram as well. But OpenClaw gives you that extra step for agentic capabilities. So with the demo, do we want to go into demo right now? Some quick Q&A. Yeah. Is there any questions for me right now that you could think of, or yeah? Biggest mistake is installing it. Again, just with what Sagar said, my wife is like, you're in the basement, you're constantly working, you're talking to Jarvis more than you're talking to me, and it's because it's always. I like to tell people. Someone asked me this the other day on a call, and they said, "Does this free up your time, or does it make you more busy?" And I said, "It depends on what you want to do with your time that you get back. Because of the capabilities that you are able to do with it, you could go deep diving into it and spend so much time getting further, right, than your competitors or what you're doing. Or you can say, hey, I have this time, you know, back to me. I can go with my family. I could go do certain things while it's still getting done at the rate that I was doing it, right? It's like literally having an employee sit at your desk while you walk away and go do something, right? So that's what I would say. If I train the context, I change it depending on my use case. I'm pretty much updating it weekly based on, so basically what I have with my agents is self-healing. I'm not sure if anyone has heard that term, but basically I have a cron job, and what a cron job is basically a scheduled task, right? And what I do at 9 p.m., any mistakes that the agent made that day, it will go through and update the memory and update the configuration so it won't have those mistakes anymore. So basically, every single day, my agents are getting smarter. They're developing, so it's basically called an error review. And then by 10 o'clock, it reviews those changes and updates the memory and updates the configuration. So I will never run into the same issue that I'm having with these agents, which is a lot of the time we're debugging stuff and we're trying to fix this. Hey, I just told you about this. Can you fix this again? Where this, I really don't have to do that. So you'll see a term that I like to use, and you'll hear it throughout AI. Has anyone heard of AI orchestration? Okay. So basically with AI orchestration, it's how you can funnel your agents, right? Just like a company. So I'll show you, you'll see Jarvis, but for this purpose, we built out a demo agent just to show you guys, just to not leak any API keys or anything like that. No one be stealing those. Um, but basically with my agent orchestration, I'll show you on my dashboard, I have around 9 agents right now that work for me. And I have set them up specifically for my business, right? I'm a solopreneur. I have contractors that work for me, but on the back end stuff, it is a lot, especially as business owners, to have to handle social media, marketing, follow up, sales, ads, and just a bunch of stuff, right? So basically, agent orchestration, I have my COO, which is my main agent who I talk to. That's my right hand man. That is Jarvis. And basically, how I set him up is he will coordinate with me and he will give tasks to the sub agents. Think of them as another employees with my COO. So basically, um, where I'm going with that is you can train each agent to do specific tasks and you can give them skills. Has anyone heard of skills? Okay. Skills are basically like superpowers that you can give your agent and it will train and learn. What skills are is basically a markdown file on how to do something really well. Markdown files is basically a file that agents can understand and read very well. Markdown files are probably the #1 way that agents can read certain things because it's just context, it's just text. So Markdown files will come up a lot. Ben, I don't know if you want to transition into Ben. Ben is an HVAC owner. He's a really good buddy of mine. I introduced OpenClaw to him because I was like, listen, this is a really good software and platform that you can use. Again, him not knowing anything about kind of the AI he was using, ChatGPT, he was using just a normal chatbot. And then I introduced it to him. And about a month into him doing this, he came back to me and showed me what he was doing. I was like, bro, like, what are you doing? Like, this is some next level stuff. Especially, you would never expect an HVAC owner in blue collar to be running OpenClaw and have these capabilities and building out these dashboards that you're like, holy cow, this is insane. So I'll pass it to Ben.
Yeah, my name is Ben. I own an HVAC company, Happy Hippo Heating and Cooling. It's out of New Lenox. And I mean, I've known Devin forever. And Devin's always been like really ahead with tech stuff. and I'd see him occasionally. He'd tell me like, I don't know how long ago it was. I saw him at the gym, and he's like, "Have you seen Claude?" I'm like, "No, I don't know what Claude is." So he shows me this website that he built in like 5 minutes using Claude. I'm like, "What the heck? ChatGPT could never do that." So then, not too long ago, he calls me and he's like, "Dude, he's telling me about OpenClaw, and I don't know what the heck this thing is." But ever since like the AI came out, I've been trying to find ways to incorporate it into my business a little bit and help it make it work for me more, so I don't have to do as much. And I've been doing it, but there was a lot of limitations. And so I'm talking to him and I'm asking him, I'm like, can it schedule jobs for me? Because that's something I've been trying to do for a while, and it can't. I've never been able to do it. And he's like, yeah, no problem. So I set it up. I already had a Mac Mini, so I set it up like that day. I'm playing around with it, and I just keep going. We talk occasionally and bounce ideas off of each other. And it's really insane what it could do, because like Devin was saying with the skills, you set this skill up, and I like to think of it like muscle memory, where I have a muscle memory to maybe do something on a furnace or an air conditioner. Devin might not have that muscle memory, but it's basically downloading that muscle memory from me onto Devin with these skills. So building out the skills is super cool. And I don't know what the heck a markdown file is. I don't know anything about coding or anything. I just kind of figured out how to talk to the agents, and doing research, going back and forth with them, finding ways to build out what I want. Does anybody? Yeah. So I do it differently than Devin does. Devin got his set up, he got it solid, and it's working awesome for him. Me, I'm like, and I don't know how the heck he did it so fast, but it's probably because he's better with this stuff than I am. But I'm always making stuff, and I find something, I want to tweak it, and then it breaks, and then I go back. So as far as being skeptical about it, I mean, I don't think it's bad to be skeptical about it, because it's a really OpenClaw is super powerful. Like I gave it access to my iMessage, and you use it with Telegram. I use it with Discord now, but I still use Telegram. But I have my technicians on Telegram with it, so they can message the tech back, or message the bot back and forth, ask it about inventory, their jobs, things like that, and it reminds them about their inventory too. And I was having to do a schedule thing for planning jobs, and it said, "Is Jake working tomorrow?" And I said, "You ask." I mean, I already knew, but I said, "You ask him." So I forgot that I had iMessage set up, and it used my iMessage and sent Jake a message saying, "Hey Jake, are you working tomorrow?" So I mean, as long as you set up everything in a good way, like Saga was saying with the guardrails, you got to limit what you give it access to. Like I started out, I gave it access to my Google account. And then I realized, well, this was kind of dumb, because now it has my entire Google account. It can see my entire Google Drive, all my emails. So then I made it its own email, and now we have a shared Google Drive that it can drop things into for me.
The best way that I can explain it when I'm telling people and they say, how do I train it? Well, I treat it just like an employee. Like you're not gonna hire an employee and then just say get to work,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're gonna give them an SOP. You're gonna say, hey, here's how we do things. Here's the structured format. You're basically training an employee, but this employee doesn't go home, doesn't take breaks, right? So that's what I do when I am training these agents, or if I'm setting up a new agent, or going back with Ben, like, hey, what are some capabilities that we can add to these agents that would make it even better? And skills go back to it. But with OpenClaw, you'll learn to trust it a little bit more and more. Again, just like Sagar was saying, baby steps. Okay, this went well. Let's push it a little bit further, right? I'm not saying give it access to your bank account, your social security, and just go, to the wall with it. But yes, it is good to do baby steps. Give it access to an email and say, hey, maybe read only emails. See what it does. Then you could say, okay, I feel confident in this. Then you set a guardrail and you say, hey, read the emails, draft, but I want to be the person that sends it. And that's how I have mine set up right now. If I can't take a second out of my day just to go in my drafts and press send, I'm doing something wrong, right? So there are guardrails and parameters that you guys do need to set when you are setting something up like this. Yes? Yes. No, that's a great question. Depending on what you are wanting to run, I know around one Mac Mini, like the 599 one right now, you can run around 10 agents on it, and it will be fine. Just knowing though that you might want to upgrade later, right? So I always like to tell people, start with one agent. My buddy Sam's over there. Sam, you want to raise your hand real fast? So I set up a OpenClaw for him. He's in construction, he's in roofing, and he wanted to get a full agent orchestration going. And I said, no, absolutely not. Start with one, see how you interact with it, and then see what you actually need. Because you'll see the capabilities of what this software is able to do, and then you're able to map out where you want to go with this, right? So I would say don't waste your time trying to build out a full team right now. If you can figure out, hey, this is the main agent, right? So each OpenClaw will have a main agent, and then you'll have sub-agents under that. So if you want to have multiple main agents, that's where you go into buying multiple Mac Minis, where you see people buying 20 at a time, and they have so many Mac Minis. So good question. Good question. Yeah.
What's the monthly cost for you? Let's say that one computer with 10 agents.
Yeah.
And then just quick follow-up, what would be a tip you would give someone that helped you the most to start OpenClaw?
I would say, so there is two ways that you can go about this. Has anyone heard of token optimization or token usage? Okay. So basically, how you will get access to OpenClaw, to Connected. I like to think of it as, everyone's got to know the movie Iron Man, right? Okay. So when Tony goes into his suit, Jarvis comes in. Basically, your LLM, you can put any LLM into OpenClaw. You could use Gemini if you want. You could use Claude. You could use ChatGPT. You could use a local model, Ollama. It really goes down to you'll save usage on a local model because it's on the actual Mac. But it goes down to token usage, right? You can optimize your token usage through certain markdown files. You could set rate limits. You could say, hey, I don't want you to, you hear these stories of people accidentally $12,000, they wake up with an API cost and they're like, what the heck? How did that happen? It's because they didn't set rate limits and guardrails on these agents because of how powerful it is. When you install OpenClaw, the first thing that it tells you is a yes or no question. Do you understand, and are you taking the risk of understanding how powerful this technology is? And you have to say yes or no, but you can't get it if you say no, so you say yes. So it really goes down to, I'll put that in. It goes down to token usage. So you can ask, there's many videos that you can look up on YouTube. Just be careful which ones you look for, but token usage is the best thing that you can do right off the bat for how much monthly it costs. Monthly, right around mine, it depends too at what softwares you're using, right? So you have your LLM, which is basically giving it access to basically you bring it to life, right? But then you have different softwares that you can bring into it via API keys. So right now, for me, I'm probably running around $450 a month, but it's because I have certain things in there that I'm able to put into. So I have hunter.io, which is a scraping leads email. So if I want to go find someone, I could ask, and I'll show you guys tonight, I can ask Randy, hey, I need to find this person in this company. Give me their email. And with that software, hunter.io, I have an API key that I give to Randy, and now he has access to use that software within OpenClaw and can go find that email for me. So I know there's been multiple times where you're like, gosh, I just need to find this. I need to find this guy or this girl's email. I can't find it anywhere on the web. This is what fixed that. And it will actually give you a rating if it will bounce or not. So it's usually 100%, but this is the verified email. And this is a great way for your salespeople to send cold emails because you can scrape emails and say, hey, let's draft 10 emails in my Gmail with this company. And the nice thing too is you can give it a Brave API key, which is basically web browsing. Now there are some free ones, but just know that you'll hit with calls, right? So there's free ones, but you can literally go. I did this the other day and I showed Sagar because it was crazy. I said, hey, can you find 10 leads for me with my video production business, Chicagoland? And I said, I gave it some certain criterias of the lead that I was looking for, my ICP. And it literally found his email. It found the guy's email. And then I said, hey, can you nurture this and make it a really, really, really good cold email that he won't be able to deny? And Jarvis went through and was able to find some articles about him, some business owner articles and some congratulation things, right? That I was able, Jarvis went through and said, hey, congratulations on this award that you won. I saw that you won this. And I sent it off to him, not thinking anything. I said, hey, let's see how this goes. He emailed me back and said, this is the best cold email that I've had in 13 years of business. And all that took was me saying, can you go find this lead and can you make it warm? And can you include some nice things and make it a warm email instead of just saying, hey, let's hop on a call, right? We've all had them cold emails in our inboxes. And I was actually blown away that I had to screenshot it and send it to Sagar. I said, this is where we're at right now. And that is just crazy. Yes.
Was there any use stuff that you use big ones? It looked like sometimes it's way too simple, and sometimes you go to the random tangents. There's nothing to do with like setting things up. That was like the biggest issue.
Ben, there's a YouTuber that me, Sagar, and Ben really admire because he is just wants to show people that are curious, but also that can understand the simple things about AI and really good to getting into it. So Ben, I think his name is Alex. Is that his name?
That guy, he's okay. So that Alex, the guy he's talking about, that's Alex Finn. He puts out a lot of really good stuff. And I mean, this is just me. I find him hard to watch. He's got good stuff. I don't want to talk bad about the guy. But there's another guy out there. I'm looking right now for him. And he's like most of the people out there who make the videos, they're trying to sell you something in the video. They're partnered with someone else and like I get it. They want to make money. But there's a guy out there who I don't think he does at least, but he just kind of lays it all out flat and cuts through all the BS of it. And he's not like trying to hype something up that doesn't need to be hyped up. If it's something that everyone else is hyping up, but it's kind of junk, he'll tell you it's junk. So I like that guy a lot, but I can't remember his name.
The best
If I find it, I'll tell you.
The best thing that I can tell you is if you are curious about AI and you want to learn more about it, ask AI, right? That's what I going into it. Yeah, I'll have that YouTuber for you, but let's get into demo. All right, so I will pull up the mission control. So a lot of people have been going in. These are all my agents. Basically, I said, Jarvis, my main agent, I said, I want you to create a mission control dashboard to where I can see all of my agents, see what they're working on, see what's going on within the agents. Because right now, what it is basically, and I'll show you, it's just a telegram, how you message them. And I said, I want to actually see what my agents are doing. So you'll actually see them right now. I'll tell Jarvis to give them some stuff to do. I'll say, can you give the agents some stuff to work on right now as we're in the demo? Don't care what it is, just get them to work. So the way that I go about this, and Jarvis is going to light them up, I have multiple agents. I have my business operations, my prospect research, my editor, Maverick is my paid, Bruce is my research, Peter does my newsletter for LinkedIn, Clint is my monitoring, so he monitors competitors' pricings and seeing where I can fill the void within my business. So this one is actually very, very, very important. Second opinion. basically what this agent does, if I have something super strenuous that I want to give to my COO, Jarvis, I say, hey, as a second opinion, plays devil advocate to the task that I'm giving you. So it's always good to do this, right? Because you want to get a second opinion in your business if you're doing something very strenuous. You want to say, hey, what do you think about this skills or task? Let me see what Jarvis is saying. He's typing right now. He's probably giving them all tasks to do. So I have Jarvis, going back to agent orchestration, I have Jarvis on Opus 4.6, the most powerful model right now. And they're all working right now. You can see them live. I run Jarvis on Opus 4.6 because it is the most intelligent model out there. But all of these specific other agents, sub-agents, run on Sonnet 4.6. And the reason why that is because Sonnet 4.6 is really, really fast and good. It's like an average, average model that can run. They could do stuff very, very fast without thinking. They can have context, and they could reason with stuff. But if Jarvis is basically, he's telling the agents to do something so they don't have to think about it, they just go and do. So that's what setting up agent orchestration looks like. So it really goes down to your usage. I would never, never, never advise, and I've seen people do this and they run up their API costs and they're like, why did I wake up with a $12,000 bill? Well, you do not need to be running all of your agents on the most powerful model. It just doesn't need to be done. You can have one agent, your main agent, run on the most powerful model, giving context and reason, and then have all your sub-agents on a lower end model that could run. I have even thought about running some of my lower tier models or lower tier sub-agents that just do mundane stuff on Haiku 3.5. Because, again, it's just mundane stuff. They don't need to reason, they just need to do. So if I can get them to do it super fast, they will do it. So I mean, could you imagine an employee if you said, hey, I want you to be my sales director, I want you to be my newsletter, I want you to be my LinkedIn writer, I want you to do follow-up leads, I want you to do all these things at the same time. They're going to get bogged down and can't do it all, right? And the agent will do it, but it's not going to do it at the level that you want it to because it has to focus on 30 different things and doing 30 different tasks. So with my agents right now, you can see the editor just got done. It actually, what's ironic, it just did a post-event LinkedIn recap draft. So I gotta, if you see me on LinkedIn, you'll get that post right there. So I'm able to go through and I could see these agents and what they're doing. So in progress, I have deep dive 5 companies in the room tonight. Sorry if you get research tonight by one of my agents. I'm researching all of you right now with my attending. So it was able to go through Luma. It was able to pull the list, right? These are stuff I did not tell it. You just saw me. I didn't say, hey, go research the attendance list right now. I just said, hey, give it some things that it needs to do. It knows my Google Calendar. It knows the context that I was talking about. It knew that I had this in-person event. It knows that we were talking about OpenClaw. And it said, okay, I want you to basically draft an event recap for the next newsletter. So that one, if you see another newsletter next week, Monday morning at 7 a.m., it's because it already drafted it and it knows. So all those tasks just got completed right now, and I didn't do anything. So I'm able to go through in here and see these results right here, everything getting done. So I could see, okay, here's the Memory AI Collective opportunities. Here's some opportunities within this. And I can go through, and this is basically in a markdown file, or I can go on Telegram and have it accessed through my phone, right? So if I don't have that open on my computer, if I'm on the go, I still get it through Telegram. This is basically just seeing another way of it, if that makes sense. What? How many of them work? Oh, evaluating? So I evaluate them by going in and seeing what they're doing. So I could say full output right here. Here's what the agent did. And I could say, okay, here's next steps. So evaluation comes down to, yes, you still have to, review it. It goes down to trust. How much trust do I have in my agents? And basically, it's just the output that I'm doing. So the trust factor comes down to, is it a really mundane task? Do I need to check it? I do human verification on these tasks. But, let's say a month in, I can check it. It's good. I don't need, because then I'm going back on my time if I need to go through and check all these things. But if it's a very, strenuous task, I'm sending a proposal, I'm going to look at it real fast, human verification, and then have it send it. So I'll go through it and I'll show you kind of the stuff. So we'll go through the, let's see. So this is something that I love. I am in the media production space, and I need to post content. I'm busy, and basically every single morning at 7:40 a.m., I have a cron job that runs, and it's my content intelligence. What I was able to do is, does anyone use AI note takers? Okay, start using them if you get into OpenClaw. Because here's what I did. I said, for the last 2 years, I've been using an AI note taker. And basically, I said, I wonder, Jarvis, if I gave you access to all my sales calls, can you make my emails sound more like me? Because it's my real words. And he said, I can do it. Give me it. So I gave him the API key to my Fireflies account, and he was able to go through 50,000 words that I said in 30 seconds. And he said, great. That's all I said. And then he comes back to me and says, hey, I actually went through all your sales calls and I found 2 of your biggest objections that you just haven't noticed. I said, really, what are they? And he told me what they were. And he goes, hey, I'm going to update the website so you don't have to have these objections on the call. Again, something that I didn't think about, but something that helps me now. Now when I hop on a sales call, I don't have those sales objections, because he was able to understand, okay, if this is his biggest objections and he's sending the website to them, onboarding them or trying to sell them and close them, those objections should be on the website. So we buy our time back with having that. And I was able to go through, and now having that sales call, anytime that I have a sales call, I'm able to make content off of it, right? Prior with proprietary information, stuff being said on a call. But I can go through and he will give me every single morning at 7:40 off of the data on LinkedIn, on my Instagram, what does analytically well on my post. So he'll go through my whole LinkedIn and says, okay, I know that this post will perform well because of this post that happened last week and it got really good engagements. But he uses my sales calls to make content, which is amazing. So I'm able to go through every single morning. I have 3 different posts right here. And if I don't like them, he'll give me 3 more. And I can keep going. That fast. So it really helps if you're not good with content and you're not good with writing. This speeds that up. If you want to be more vocal on LinkedIn and you want to have a LinkedIn presence, I know that's getting bigger in volume with LinkedIn. This is the capabilities that you're able to do. We'll switch over to Randy. So this is Randy. He is my demo agent. It's hard to see right now. But basically, I can access him through my phone. So I can speak to him right here on my phone. This is actually running off my Mac Mini about 45 minutes away. So I have access to him to my computer, and I have access to him on my phone. My phone is how I communicate to him the most. So I could say, hey, Randy, we are in front of 200 people right now. I think it's 200 people. Can you say hi to the crowd and just address on the capabilities of what you're able to do? So I send that through. Randy goes through it. You can see him at the top. It's kind of hard to see. You can see he's typing right now. Right now, Randy is running on Sonnet 4.5 just for the speed capabilities. So you'll see him. He's coming through. We can actually shift this over. So he's able to do research intelligent, document creation, web automation, lead generation, and I think that says speed. So does anyone have something that you want to test? Like, give me a thing that you want to see Randy do. If not, I can. Yeah. Okay. In the city, or where are you located? Okay. What are some events in Chicago that I can go to as an entrepreneur, 24 years old? So he's going to go through. He's going to be using my Brave API key, which is able to go directly to the web. And then he'll be able to, what was crazy was I actually got signed up for 5 speaking engagements, and I didn't even know it. I said, how can I get more vocal? And he said, Jarvis came to me the next day and said, I scheduled and submitted 5 speaking events for you. And I was like, cool, I guess I'm speaking at 5 events. And he put it in my calendar and he submitted forms for me with all of my information. Has anyone heard of the AI Tinker event? Okay, couple of you. Yeah, he submitted me for that, and I guess I'm speaking at that one. So, but again, this goes down to, so we have April 2026 events. We have the Startup Grind Conference. That's April 27th to the 29th. Gave me the link, said, what's it about? You know, Small Businesses Expo, I'm able to go through. I'm not going to tell them, can you sign me up? Because my calendar is full. But what are some other ones? Like this is just simple capabilities. And it gives you the link to go. And if you wanted to take it a step further in one of these and say, hey, research what this company is about or research what this event is and see if it's suitable or will my ICP be there? That's something it can do. Any others? All right. We'll go to, it's 7:12 now. Ben, do you want to go over to your demo?
Yeah, sure.
Ben's got some really cool stuff that I think you guys will be, wowed at. But yeah, if anyone has any questions, feel free to come up to me after. Yes. Yes.
So employees are laid out. So basically, is that a part of software?
No. So Jarvis, how can I see all my agents working? He said, give me 30 minutes. And I said, okay. And then 30 minutes later, I wound it up with this. And again, baby steps. I said, okay, this is great because this is all it was. Just this interface, just this page. And then I said, okay, but what if I want to see my LinkedIn post? He said, I got you. And so I have my LinkedIn post now and I can go directly to them. I said, what about Instagram? He said, I got Instagram. I said, what if I want to see my engagement velocity within the first hour, 6 hours, 24 hours after I post something? He said, I got you. And then it goes down to my competitors, my sales, my calls. So like I can even go, here's all of my calls, right, off Fireflies. So I'm able to go through, it tells me what my calls are, and I could even go in and based off of my business, it can say, here's the next steps, here's what's going on, this is actually tonight. And then I can go through all of these sales calls, it will tell me. And this is something that I basically said, this is what I want to see. This is how powerful it is. You want something, you ask for it, it will build it out for you. Does that make sense? So this is actually, so OpenClaw will write software, but this is based on Cloudflare. So just so I have access anywhere in the world, I use a token with it as well. So you could use tunnels through that, but right now that is through Cloudflare. Any other before we switch over to Ben?
Could you talk through your process of creating markdown files for each of these agents and what thought went into it?
Yeah. So it definitely takes some time. This is the biggest thing, and I actually had Sam do this, who I set up the OpenClaw for. I said, sit down, and I just want you to brain dump. I want you to press record on your phone, and I want you to sit there for an hour, maybe even 2. Longer context, more data that it can get from you, the better. So I said, have it run through your business, give it the website, and just brain dump on the pain points that you're having, the issues that you're running into, what you don't want to do anymore that you know that you shouldn't be doing, but you are doing. So I basically said, I know that all these things are things that I do on a day-to-day basis that I don't do anymore, which I was able to get my time back. So it goes down to what are you trying to automate and what are you trying to get your time back with? So that was where I came with the markdown files. And then you can have the agents walk through. If you're doing baby steps, say, hey, I want to create a markdown file for this. I really don't know where to start, but I know I need to create a markdown file for each separate agent. And then each one of these agents I have given specific skills for that is really good for that agent. So they're optimized to do the best things that they're, what they're good for, right? It's like sending an employee that is your marketing. It's like sending them to a workshop and they learn a lot. Same thing here. You give it a skill, it learns that, but you don't have to tell it to do it over and over and over again. Makes sense.
How did you go about did the agents tell you what platforms to use for such as like Cloudflare or anything else earlier?
Yeah. So they say, hey, I said I wanted to access this through my MacBook or my iPhone when I'm on the go. It said, here's the best recommendations. And it knows I'm a business owner. I'm trying to be cost effective. And it said, hey, here's the free platform that you can use. It's secure. It's good on this. And it has worked for me since. And I haven't looked back and said, hey, find me another software that I need because this isn't working. It has worked for me. So it just goes down to asking the questions and saying, like, how is this possible? And it varies. I've never run into an issue where this is not possible.
So you assume the agents doing the recommendations versus relying on some another platform that is led or
Because here's the thing, the agents can pull from Reddit. They can go through. They have access to the internet. They have access to the browser. So if they don't know something, they'll go and find it. Does that make sense? All right, we'll switch over to Ben. No, you're good.
It's a two-part question. One, if I vibe coded, let's just say a website, and I would like to push it through the app stores, is that something they could do? And then my second part is, were there, when setting up your OpenClaw on a Mac Mini or wherever, were there any guardrails that you put up beforehand and prevent it from like a worst case scenario or data leak or
Yeah.
something?
So first question, Apple's cracking down on vibe-coded apps. They do not want vibe-coded apps on their platform because then it just gets super saturated and no one wants to go on the App Store anymore. So to launch a website on the App Store, not really viable right now as they're going forward. Now I'm sure that maybe in the future they'll open it up to it. And then the second one for guardrails and parameters, I was able to collaborate with Sagar, having his cybersecurity background, and saying, hey, what is the security metrics that I need to have? But it just goes down to training an employee, right? You're never going to tell an employee like, hey, just do whatever you want. It goes down to, hey, never send an email without my permission. Never spend money. If someone gives credit cards to their OpenClaw, which they set a daily limit, and they're like, hey, don't go over this limit. Making sure that is very clear in place. So when I set up this stuff to do automations, your SOPs have to be very, 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 very defined, because you're basically saying, hey, this is an SOP, this is how we do things, this is the automation that I want, run through it start to finish. Where if you give an SOP to an employee and they don't know the step in it, they're probably going to guess and it's going to be half answered, right? Same thing with these agents.
I want to add one note to Devin's point. When he's building these web apps that you see, I may need this for that real quick. I'm getting paranoid. When he's building these web apps live locally on his Mac Mini. And then he points them to a web address so that he could be here in this room on the Wi-Fi to access this mission control. This is where you're going to get your ass kicked. If you don't know what you're doing and rely on your AI agents to run you through security practices. I've seen folks that map their internally hosted website that may have access to something very, very important or sensitive, and it's open on the internet. If you can access it easily on a web browser, you could bet you're behind that anybody can scan the internet and find your web address and start accessing your information. So that's where this security conversation comes into play. If you're going to post stuff and it's easily accessible online, put in a password, put in a VPN tunnel, do something so that only you can access it, so that you don't have somebody accessing data that they shouldn't be seeing. So be really, really careful, because that's how you can get in trouble with your data. Devin, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
That is so much brighter. What happened? Yeah. Absolutely. So if you want to get technical, you can add network layer controls inside of OpenClaw, especially if you're going to be hosting it on a VPS or a cloud. You want to do some type of port forwarding, or you're putting in some API calls. You want it to read other systems. You're doing some MCP stuff. You want to be sure that your API keys don't live on an environment file that's easily accessible on a front end. Make sure you mask some of your keys so that you don't have people easily accessing or scraping them. If you plug in a backend like Postgres or some type of database, make sure that those keys and those connections are protected and encrypted. You have other things outside of what the agents do from a security perspective, but it's network, hardware, making sure you hide your keys, do good password management. And then I highly recommend, when your agents are doing work, it's really important to have some type of traceability and auditing. So there's tools like Langfuse and other open source platforms. This is a little bit advanced, but you can monitor what the agents are doing. What LLM did it use? How many tokens did it cost? How did it end up to this end result? What systems and services did it access? So that if you do have something that happens from a security perspective, you know this, logging is going to be the reason you're able to find the source of the intrusion. So if you're blind to this stuff, you won't be able to see it, but there's absolutely things you can do. Think of it just like a web server. If an OpenClaw sits open just anywhere, you're going to have a bad time, right? So there's other things you can do to protect your information. Yep.
All right.
Sorry, Ben.
All right. So I mentioned Telegram earlier. That's how I started out using OpenClaw. And then I thought, like, I kind of want more detailed. I don't want just one long chat with everything. So I started looking into Discord. And Discord is pretty much, I pretty much just have multiple channels here, and they each serve their own purpose. I'm kind of starting to move away from Discord because what I'll show you next. Um, like it's got all these different channels. They do cool things. Like this one here gives my morning brief, gives the weather. It gets some stuff wrong, like 0 jobs booked. I think that's right on the reviews. But this is pretty much just the morning brief, a simple thing that it gives every morning. And I really don't even read it anymore, to be honest. I got some of these here marked with an X, so I know not to click on them because they have some sensitive stuff on there. This one here, one of the first things I wanted to do with OpenClaw was get it to do my SEO for me in my Google business profile, because SEO companies and the companies who manage the Google business profiles, they charge a lot of money and they do good work, but I figured maybe I could do it instead. So this right here is pretty much a content queue. So whenever it creates content, like a blog post for my website or a post for the Google business profile, it comes in here and it gives me the post. So it either uses Nano Banana to generate an image, or it will use a real photo. It's got a file with real photos that I've given it. So it's got the post here, and then if I like it, I just hit the check mark. If I don't, I hit the X. And then if I hit the X, I reply to it and I tell it what to change. And then it comes back with a new post. So if I don't like the way it worded something, or if it generated some garbage AI photo, then it can give me a new one. And then once I approve it, I think I have it on like a 1 or 2 week backlog. So if I don't prove it for a little while, like this, because I've been so busy, then it's still going. I've got a little bit of cushion in there. And my next channel is Flight Tracker. So I don't know if you guys know about Frontier's Go Wild Pass. It's super cool. You pay like $300 and you get unlimited flights, pretty much. But they make it really hard to find out when you could go. So I've had it, and I wanted to find out when I could go. My dad lives in Fort Myers, and I've always been checking it to find out when I could go, but it's like really difficult. So I built this, and this is actually one of the hardest things that it had. It struggled the most building this. I don't know why. But once it built it, then I think it was the next day, once it was totally done, I saw it came back. It said, you can go to Fort Myers tomorrow and come back on Sunday. It was like a 1 or 2 day trip. So then I'm on the phone with my dad telling him about this. And then I'm like, hey, what are you doing tomorrow? So then I went to Fort Myers. Coinbase, this is, I wanted to have AI do trading for me. So I set up a little sandbox for it. I kind of dropped this idea. I moved on to other things, but I still got it because I'm going to come back to it. I want it to trade for me and make me money. Website. When it posts something on the website, comes in here, shows me what it posted. Pretty simple. Or if I want to change something on the website, I could come in here, message it. I don't like this, or I noticed this bug on the website, and then it goes in there and it fixes it. Same with the Google business profile. Portal, this is the portal that I'm going to show you next. There's not much in here. I got this little projects tab. here, and it's just little projects that I wanted to build inside of OpenClaw, so I could talk with my OpenClaw about those projects specifically, rather than like the one long thread of messages. So it keeps things separate, and it helped me a lot. And then I got Growth. Growth is the agent that manages the Google business profile and that website SEO. So today, it looks like it found an old phone number that I don't even recognize that phone number. I don't know where that came from, but I guess there was an old phone number somewhere that it found, and then on its own, it found that and fixed it because it knows that's not my phone number. And my goal with OpenClaw is pretty much to just not involve me at all. Unless you need me, don't bug me. Like give me status updates, but I don't want to talk to you that much. And it's so much different than like Claude or ChatGPT, because that stuff you got to go back and forth with it, back and forth, copy, paste, all this stuff. This is like you give it, yeah. It's my favorite one.
Just show us like high level.
Yeah.
Do you want to show them the portal?
Thanks.
Yeah. I'm going to show you guys that next. What else we got in here? So employee, this is the employee bot. My technicians talk to this bot. I talk to this bot. It messages me when I need to order things for the shop. It messages them when they need to refill their truck and say they damage a part on the job. They tell their agent, I damaged this part on this job, and then it's going to bug them every few hours until they bring it back to the shop. And then once it's back at the shop, it's going to bug me every few hours to do something about that. If I have to warranty this part, if I got to get rid of this part, if I got to order a new one, whatever it is, it bugs me about it until I tell it it's handled. Home Assistant, I don't know if any of you here know about Home Assistant. I'm sure, does anyone know about Home Assistant? Cool, one person. So Home Assistant, I think it's super cool. I like to get a little nerdy with it. Think about like all your smart switches and your smart thermostat and maybe your Ring cameras, combining it all, yeah, your Tesla, combining it all into one app, pretty much, one spot. And you could set up automations. It goes crazy. So I had a Home Assistant agent. I got rid of that agent because it was easier just to use the main agent to do the stuff. But it goes into my Home Assistant. Like I have these little wireless switches, and now I press a button on a switch, and I had it do this all on its own. I just told it what to do, and it set it up for me. I press a button on one switch, and it turns on like 2 lights in my house, just like dim. And then I press it twice. It turns off all the lights in my house. If I hold it, it makes all the lights in the house just like go crazy rave. It's pretty fun. And then I got the other buttons doing other things like the thermostat. One of them will just say random insults, and it turns on Alexa, and then it has Alexa say random insults. It's really funny. So you can definitely have fun with it. Second Opinion and Refiner. These are, I don't really need to talk to them. This is more for the agents to talk to. If the agent is messing up, it goes to Second Opinion for each set of eyes on it. Refiner, if I give it a crappy prompt, because a lot of AI is giving it good prompts, then it takes my crappy prompt, it figures out what I want. If it needs to ask me questions, it asks me questions, and then it feeds that prompt to the agents I'm talking to. E-commerce. This is, so I like to do random things. How do I say it? So I sell things on Amazon. I'm not crazy successful at it. Not successful at all, actually. I'm losing money, but I'm learning. And now that I have the AI doing that, it might be getting better. I haven't had time to look at that much lately either. But these are skills that I need to improve with it. When I have time, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to look at the skills it has. I'm going to do some research on these skills and build that muscle memory for it so it knows what to do and how to make a sweet listing that sells. So it goes in and it finds me things that I could buy from China or something and then ship to Amazon for Amazon to sell for me. And the portal, we got, so this is just a dashboard of the portal here. and it shows my reviews. I want to get to 1,000 reviews this year on Google. So it shows what we're at, 473 right now, 5.0 average. Pipeline, that's something else I set up. I haven't fully integrated yet. There's a lot of things in here, by the way, that I had the idea and then I set it up and then my ADHD kicked in and then I just kind of went another direction until I make it back to it. Drafts pending, so that's for the Google business profile or the blog posts. Total jobs all time. 2 Google business profile posts awaiting. Cron jobs, 28 of 28. And I have 7 errors that I need to fix, but it should fix those on its own. Blog posts. It's published 135 blog posts for me, which is probably way too much for SEO. Shows my revenue. I can't even read that, but it's got revenue goals in there for me. Like I want to get to $1 million in revenue this year. Crazy high goal for me. But I'm hoping that OpenClaw can help me do this. And it's had some pretty cool ideas. Stale jobs. So if there's stale jobs, they go there. Review goal progress. It shows I'm at 47% of my goal. I need 59 a month and shows my average. Is there anything else on here? That's about it. I used OpenClaw and Claude Code for this. So I've been bouncing around trying to figure out the best way to build this out because you could just talk to the agent, but then the agent can, its context gets full. That's in the beginning of OpenClaw. It's gotten way better now. I could probably just do OpenClaw now. But I was running into a lot of issues, and there's been so many updates since then, and it's gotten way better. But I've been bouncing around trying to figure out the best way, most efficient and most reliable way to build it out so that it works. And so a lot of my stuff is a hybrid of talking to OpenClaw and also using Claude Code to go in and build it. But OpenClaw can also go in and use Claude Code itself. So I could just kind of give it what I want, and then it'll go in there and build it for me using Claude Code if it can't do it itself. Pipeline, this is what I was talking about. So I'm going to use this pretty much like a lot of CRMs have a pipeline where someone's in a bucket and whatever bucket they're in, it's going to do something. It's going to text that person. It's going to bug someone about them being in that bucket. Maybe it's going to send them a review. Maybe it's going to follow up with them. Things like that. So that's where I'm going with this, so that when we get sales stuff come in, it's going to be a lot more streamlined and we're not going to be forgetting about someone. And I mean, it actually just had this idea of, if someone needs parts and I order a part for someone, we could put it into a pipeline like this and it could track that part. Like it could check the shipping on that part or something and then remind me to schedule with that person or schedule with them on their own. Revenue, this is kind of what I was telling you about a little bit ago if it loads. There it is. All right. So you can see I'm way behind right now. But this is tracking my revenue, where I want to be and where I'm at right now and what I need. Pretty simple. Growth. This is the growth agent that I was telling you guys about that does the Google business profile, website, everything related to online presence pretty much is what this agent handles. And it kind of just puts it all into this tab. So I got a blog queue here, Google business profile blog queue, queue history, blog and Google business profile posts. Got the stuff it posted in here. I really don't spend a whole lot of time in this because once I approve it, I don't want to see it again. Reviews. So when I told Don, my main agent, when I originally told Don I want to hit 1,000 reviews this year, he came up with this thing, and this is where you kind of need guardrails. I set it up with Twilio, which can send people text messages and stuff, and Don was doing stuff overnight because I told him I want you to work overnight and improve, find ways you can help me. And then he queued up messages and sent messages to customers for review requests, but they already get them through my current CRM. Thankfully, Twilio wasn't set up on the Twilio end of it, so that didn't go through, but it tried. I don't know what time that sent those messages, but it sent, oh, here, 10:02 p.m., 12 a.m. That's a great time. I had it, before I came here today, I had to get rid of the customers' names and their phone numbers. Sent. Updates, what I'll usually do is figure out what's in the update first. A lot of stuff has been security updates. So I want to update it, but then I update something and something else breaks. And the reason it breaks, I've found, is usually because it was something that was broken in OpenClaw, in the original configuration, whatever it's called, of OpenClaw. And then my agent found a way around it to fix it. And then the real fix was put in place, and then it broke it. So I think a lot of that is past now because it's come so far since, when was it, Devin? A month, 2 months? Where's Devin? Queue. So it's just got the messages in queue to send to the customer. I could send them, edit, remove.
This is just two different use cases. With an HVAC owner. It's not locally, right?
This is.
This is.
Yeah.
This is. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, if I unplug my Mac Mini, this would go dead. So I'm hoping I don't lose power.
Local OpenClaw thing. How about to make sure someone doesn't want to get to it? Like it's just online.
So this is through Cloudflare.
Okay.
And with Cloudflare, you can use different authentication types in there. So with me, it can either email me a code, like a 6-digit code, or I just log in with my Google account and then it logs me in. And I have only my Google accounts on the allow list. So if anyone else tries to go to this website to get to this, they won't be able to, unless they have my email.
You want to film the dispatch just so you
Yeah.
can see the scheduling? This is something that Ben showed me 2 days ago on FaceTime. And this is the really cool thing is with others, be curious with what others are doing with AI so you can see and pull from it and see,
Yes.
hey, I see the capabilities of what you're doing. Now, when I showed Ben OpenClaw and he was just going ham with this and he was able to build this, there were some things that I was like, all right, I'm going to go back to the drawing board with my dashboard and I'm going to have that implemented with my business and my dashboard and my agents. So this dispatch, I was like, holy cow, this was another like wow moment for me when I saw what Ben was doing with the scheduling and stuff, going back to that schedule.
So this right here, this commerce thing again. It's pretty much what I showed you guys on Discord, but on the portal. So I just made a dispatch V2 last night. V1, I'll show you. That one's got customer information in it. So this is what V1 looked like. It pretty much gives a job that came in, shows the job, shows the tech that it wants to go to it, the best fitting technician to go to it. And it looks at the schedule, looks at the drive times. The address is my shop address, so it's 0 minutes, but it figures it out. It figures out when we should go there. So we're not bouncing all the way around town. Even if there's a house, say in New Lenox where I live, say there's 2 jobs in New Lenox and they happen to be on the same street, but then there's a 3rd job in New Lenox that's 10 minutes away. It will know to go from the first one to the second one on the same street, then to the 3rd one across town. So we're not going all back and forth without needing to. And I could go on there if I click the offer button, it kind of holds that spot in there because it's wanting to schedule all the unscheduled jobs. And it holds that spot temporarily. So I can ask the person, I could send them a text, will this time work for you? And if they don't get back to me, then I release that hold. And then we can offer that to somebody else. And then it'll generate new slots because the time slot that it wanted will be full. I could hit the schedule button and it'll schedule it for me. Yeah, I used Google Maps, Google Distance API, something with that. Google has so many different APIs. So this is my version 2 of this that I built last night, and I spent a little bit of time today on this too. So it's got all the jobs here: preventative service checks, no AC, no heat, where we need to go, and it prioritizes the ones that we need to get to, like the no heat and the no AC, above the preventative service checks, because it's kind of cold right now. We don't need to get to the air conditioners right now anyway. And it knows that too. It looks at the weather. So if I click on this, it shows me all the good spots that I could put this job, the best spots to put this job. And then I could go on here and I could say book in-house call pro. I haven't tested this yet. I wanted to right now. So let me actually do me so Jake doesn't get a notification. And I want to see if it actually books this job for me. While it's doing that though, this thing knows, it sees everything on here, and it knows the ideal schedule where we should do these. Because if I click on one job, it's going to figure out the fastest we can get to that job. And maybe we could have fit someone else who's a preventative service check with them, or because they're on the same street or 2 minutes away. And it just figures out the best route to go, best spot to put everybody. So I made this little button up here. Let's see, did it book it? So it's unscheduled right now. And it booked it. It worked. That was my first time testing that one on the V2. Did it book it for the right time though?
So you can see
Yeah.
how this optimizes to
Yeah.
hit his $1 million goal. So this keeps in mind the agents know, okay, he's trying to get 1,000 reviews. He's trying to hit $1 million in revenue. So he needs to, and with the agents building this out for him, he knows, the agents know, okay, well, you know, we only have a certain amount of employees. We need to optimize the routes, right? Because it's a lot of time driving from this place to this place. So if we can do 5 jobs all in the same day and get them scheduled, completely optimized out for routes and timing and actually what the clients need. Therefore, you're going to get better results. You know, trying to figure out. I couldn't imagine this when he showed me this. I was like, how do you do this manually? Like when you go into these automations, you build this out. You almost sit there when this is working. You're like, how was I doing this? Right? Because it's like, man, that's a lot of tracking and stuff with routing and having to open up Google Maps and having to do this, text a person, say, can you go to this, check with the client. This is just completely streamlined. You just saw it.
Yep. So this is its ideal schedule right here. So it wants to do the no AC Friday because in Romeoville, because we're right next to Plainfield. Those towns are near each other, if you don't know. So it wants to do this one Friday. And it knows, it sees the weather, no heat. It wants to get to the no heat tomorrow. It's going to be kind of warm tomorrow though. But it also knows tomorrow is we could do PSCs because I told it above 60 degrees we could do those. And then it's got more on for Friday. And it knows we could fit 2 in this slot, 3 in this slot, 2 in this slot. So, like I said, this just shows where it thinks everything could fit best. And you'll see here, it's putting these in the 12 to 4 arrival window when it could be putting them in the 10 to 2. It could clump these up further. But another thing I built with it, because I know in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, the weather's going to be hot or cold tomorrow, so we're going to put this job that's 30 minutes away towards the end of the day because I'm sure other jobs are going to come in between that so that we're not going back and forth just to stay efficient. So I told it to go back and review all of my jobs from the past, figure out patterns, time of day, time of year, the week, when jobs come in, when no heat, no AC calls come in. And when it's doing that dispatch routing, it factors this into it as well. So I could also go in here and see what it's predicting. Like it found the busiest is Monday, the slowest is Friday. monthly seasonality, first cold snap of the season, Christmas week, New Year's week, Thanksgiving week. And then it also goes in here, it's got an accuracy tab, and 43% of the jobs, or 43% of its recommendations were within one job. 72% of them were within two jobs. So that's not too bad. And it goes in here, I forget how frequently it is. I think it goes back in and logs the data every day. But once a month, I'm pretty sure it is. It goes back in, it compiles all the data, and then it learns from it so that it can get more accurate on its own without my input. I built a CRM because I don't like paying for software. So I use Housecall Pro as my CRM too, because it limits me to what I want to build and what I want to do. And I'm paying $300 or $400 a month. I think 3 plus add-ons. I don't know. Too much. And I'm still bouncing back and forth. Like I also I forgot to show you guys the inventory app. I didn't do this with OpenClaw. This, by the way, you'll see how not polished this looks compared to everything else. This, I think I built using Sonnet on Claude. And this was last year I built this thing. So this is pretty much where I can go into and the employees can go into and see what we need. So I got to go in here and I got to order this stuff for the shop. And tomorrow morning, the techs are going to look, or it'll message them now actually, and it's going to tell them you need a capacitor, and an igniter. So I wanted a CRM that has the inventory built into it, and it has pretty much OpenClaw built into it. My vision is like a local model, once local models get better, running on the machine that is just an expert at my business, and it'll text people on its own, it'll call people on its own. Whatever I do, it'll do for me, pretty much, and it'll make my employees' lives easier. So I want that all in an app, like an iPad app or an iPhone app, where it's just like any possible resource that I need or my employees need, it's just in this one app. And this app is just an expert on the company. So like if they need to know what tonnage an air conditioner is, something like that, they could just snap a picture of the model number and it'll tell them the tonnage, and it'll also tell them if it's under warranty still. Now that's not built yet, but I'm getting there.
To really think, like, Ben is an HVAC owner. He's not a software engineer. He is
I don't know much about this
he's not
stuff.
coding a bunch. This is just when you have the capabilities and you harness the power of OpenClaw mixed with having an open mind and being a little bit curious with this technology, what he has been able to build out. I mean, I'm just amazed at like him and with what he has built just off of having the capabilities of open. Like anything that he thinks of, he's like, oh well. Like I'm always on FaceTime with him talking, about OpenClaw and their agents and stuff, and he's always like, but what if I had this, and what if I had this, and it can get going back to the sleep score, just like Sagar was saying. You really just want to create and just keep going, because what you think of is possible. That's what I love telling people with OpenClaw. They're like, well, what it can do? I'm like, anything. And they're like, no, but what can it do? I'm like, anything. Anything that a human can do on the computer, it can do. Even better.
Real quickly, I have a newsletter on LinkedIn, so I could totally see using an agent to help with that. I already use AI to help me, and for the drafting process, can you show us how we could be sure the agent is pulling good available website data? So
Are you pulling it off of your website, or are you pulling it off of others?
I use Perplexity, and it uses, I can see it searching for websites.
Okay.
I'll draft that.
So basically what I do with mine is basically it knows my business, it knows the industry that I'm in, it knows the trends that it should be staying up to date to, and then also it pulls from my sales calls. So if I hop on a topic or I hop on call with a client, and the case study was very, very good. Now it's going to use that information and data off of the projects. It's going to go through our emails. It's going to say, hey, the metrics were great through that email thread, and I'm going to verify it, and it can draft it, and it can post it. But I like to be in the loop in the human verification before it comes out.
So it's all internal data, not external?
You can pull external data.
How you set it up, right?
Yes, that's just how I set it up. The way that I set it up is, one, it pulls from my website, so if it updates blogs and stuff on the website, it can figure out, okay, these are the monthly clients that Run a Media has worked with, the new clients. So recently I've worked with Wilson and Dean Marini in a commercial project, and it did an awesome case study because it went through my email, it found the email thread with the marketing director and the CMO of Wilson. They were very happy on the project. It was a huge success. They said that their distributors really liked it. And I was like, okay, this is an awesome thing. I said, Jarvis, can you give this to the newsletter agent, Peter, for a 7 a.m. schedule? And what's really, really cool is he will actually make slides in Telegram and draft them in LinkedIn ready to go, because no one, and you can call me crazy, no one wants to read a newsletter that's just straight text. You want to have some stuff in there. So if you create, which it has done a very good job at creating some, and you could even say, hey, this is the Google Drive link to that specific project, post some photos from it with that specific case study.
Quick follow-up, because I'm in healthcare, so that information is always updating.
Yes.
Externally.
Yes.
So could I tell it, hey, research journal, after year 2025 and after?
Yes.
Show me that website, right? Is it fine where it's pulling that?
Yes, you can find the source. Literally, you could say this goes down to the SOPs, and having what you're saying, hey, every single time you do a newsletter, I want the source link so I know it's credible and I know it's true. Please verify. So some things that I have set up as to just generate more revenue. And this is going to sound crazy to some people, but at 11 p.m. every single night, I have my research agent scouring the web for websites under 2016, because web development, they're outdated, and it's 10 years. So I can basically say, hey, Ria, my research agent, I want you to go through at 11 p.m. every single night. I want you to find 5 new prospects in the Chicagoland area that have websites under 2016. I want you to screenshot the landing page that they have right now, and then I want you to build a new landing page for them and draft that in an email ready to go at 7 a.m. for me to send. Every single morning, I have 5 new emails ready to send to go out. I'm working on a little bit of kinks with the full landing page design, but the capabilities, again, I was like, I wonder. It always starts with, I wonder. And then I do it, and it does it, and I'm like, wow. And then that I wonder leads to new I wonders, because I saw the capabilities of what it was able to do.
What would you say that your stack costs, like for everything that you need for what you're doing?
Oh yeah.
Both of you.
So essentially, Mac Mini, $5.99, right? If you want to run a local model like Olama, that's going to cost you a little bit more because you need more storage. I've seen people do double stack minis, which is like kind of crazy but kind of cool. Right now, it's running me around $450 a month to run. But if it brings me 1 lead, which it does, then it pays for itself.
The whole thing, you too, just like about
Yeah, so I'm paying about $210 a month. I'm on the $200 Anthropic subscription, which I've been looking at my usage recently. I don't even need that anymore. And
Use Minimax.
yeah, you got Minimax here. I pay $10 a month for Minimax, and you can see all the agents that run on Minimax. I've never hit a limit on Minimax. It's $10 a month, and it's really smart, especially if you use something like Opus to help build out the skills for it, because Opus will understand what you want a lot better than Minimax will. But if you build out these skills for Minimax to know how to do things, because that's what I want. I don't want to touch it if I don't have to. I want it to save me time, not take up more of my time, even though it's building it, it's been taking up a lot of my time. I don't remember where I was going with that, but pretty much Minimax is a super powerful, cheap model that can do way more than you would expect. So as time goes on, I'm gonna get rid of that $200 a month plan. Maybe I'll go down to the $100 a month plan. But
It goes down to what is your tech stack looking like? What APIs are you having in, right? So if I want to find verified emails that don't bounce because I'm doing a lot of sales, I pull 100.io, grab an API key from them, and that's $59 a month, and I add that on. But I'm able to get more leads, qualified leads through that, and making sure I'm not getting a bounced email, stuff like that. So Brave API key, I know there's some free ones out there, but once you hit a certain call, which is like 1,000, it's $5 a month. I'm like, $5 a month works perfectly for me, and it can scour the browser perfectly fine. So it goes down to what other things are you basically giving it that allows more capabilities within OpenClaw. So I
So
I use I use I use Claude AI, Cloudflare, OpenClaw. I use Higgsfield. Sometimes I do for video generation. I do Higgsfield. I have an API key through there. So a lot of these things you might be wondering, like, I wonder if my platform that I use right now that I pay monthly for, my software, I wonder if it has an API key. These platforms and softwares know that if they don't have APIs in, someone else with all this capability is going to go have an API for it. All these softwares right now are starting to have API keys because they know they're not going to go to our interface. Their agents are going to go to our interface. So we need to have a connector that allows that. So again, I can't. So my tech stack looks more of a media-based tech stack versus someone that's in healthcare that might have, certain softwares within their healthcare with API.
a
Like
lot of the stuff Devin's saying, I don't even know what he's talking about. These connectors and stuff, like the things he's got connected to it, I have no clue what they are. And that just kind of shows because I'm sure I've got stuff that he doesn't know about that's more HVAC stuff. But it just goes to show how powerful OpenClaw is because you can connect it and have it do almost anything you want. Your imagination is the limit. And even then it's really not because you could just tell your agent like what else could we do? And then it's gonna come up with ideas for you.
Yeah.
So are you guys using different models like Minimax versus Opus 4.6, and you use like Sonnet or Haiku for certain things? Is there like a methodical way you're deciding that like this is something that does not need Opus 4.6? That's something that's way too much for Haiku. How are you kind of deciding that?
Do is I'll usually start out on a higher model. And like I'll start it out on Opus or Sonnet. And then I have the main agent or Claude Code, whatever my flavor of the week is that I'm using then to to build my OpenClaw. I'll have that go in and I tell it, test this thing way harder than you think you should to find what it's good at, find what it's bad at.
Like a stress test.
Yeah, I have it stress test the crap out of this agent on Minimax because I don't like Sonnet's cool. Sonnet's actually really cool, but if I can get off of Anthropic and get on Minimax, I'm gonna do that because Minimax is $10 a month and I've never hit a limit on it. And so I have this thing go in, figure out what Minimax is good at, what it's not good at, and if it's not good at it, then we can try and revise those skills, refine the skills a little bit to make it better. And sometimes it does suggest Sonnet, but I usually
And
push
and
past
these
it and
things
get
that
back
you
to
can ask
Minimax.
the AI. You could say, okay, based off of me asking you questions, what is the best way or what is the best route with token optimization with keeping the cost down, but the most effective uh, outputs that I can get? What can we do with this? And through these agents, I've been able to say, okay, well, my content refinement really doesn't need to be on Opus 4.6, or maybe it can be on Sonnet, or maybe it could be on Haiku 3.5, right? These Sonnet 4.5 is actually really, really, really underrated. It's really good, especially with Claude releasing a million context window for Sonnet and having Opus now at a million context window. They're really, 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 really smart. Even some like the demo agent that you guys saw tonight, that was on Sonnet. That wasn't Opus 4.6. And you saw how good it was. Now just imagine Opus 4.6. The outputs are really good. And that's why I say for your main agent, I would have it as Opus 4.6. And then when you're delegating, saying, okay, if I'm using a Harvard student that has been, graduated, bachelor, did all the things, if I'm having him say, hey, how should I think about these tasks? What do I need to get them done? Okay, I have the output. Now I'm going to go send it to lower end models with that context to go get it done, so you're not boosting your usage like insane, right?
Yeah, that is another cool thing with it. If you have your main agent do something, it's not just like ChatGPT, Claude might do this, but it's not just the same agent doing this stuff, filling up its own context. It'll spawn sub agents
Yeah.
to go do all these little tasks and then come back and pretty much compile a report for the main agent. And then what I like to do is have the main agent go and check its work. But it's so cool.
I think, how do we track it? So that's something that you could use OpenRouter, which is a really good platform. I know Sagar has been using that. And that's something that you could actually see the outputs, and going back to the log, you could see what each actual task came out to be with tokens and the actual percentage. So OpenRouter is really good. OpenRouter is actually really good if you're trying to really, really hone in on your token usage, because it will allow you to have every single model access to that platform monthly. And depending on the task, the strenuous task that you give it, it's going to say, okay, maybe for this model, we need to use Gemini, Flash 2.5. Maybe for this one, because it was a very, very in-depth context, I'm going to go to Claude and use Opus 4.6. So OpenRouter is a really good one. I know Sagar has OpenRouter, and it's been really, really good, and you're able to see the data. But yeah, that's what I would use. So there's many ways, and you can actually say like, hey, I have a budget. This is going back to rate limits. I have a budget that I can spend in my business of $300 a month on token usage. With each task that I give you, I want to make sure that I am the most cost effective with the best output, right? So this is what OpenRouter looks like. So you could see all these different models that he was able to do, and you could actually see, so Gemini 2.5 GPT, so you could see it's using different models depending on what the tasks are, right? So this is something that's really, really cool if you're just trying to keep that cost effective down without having to do token optimization through your actual agent. You can plug it in through here, and you can see here's all of the generations of his task. So you can see how many credits it took, like 2 cents. You could see it used Gemini. It was all through OpenClaw. So it's really, really cool. OpenRouter is a really, really good one. And you're able to see logs in this too.
OpenRouter.
OpenRouter. Yes. It is a monthly subscription, correct, Sagar?
Yeah, so the main difference, everybody, between what Ben is talking about with Minimax, which is an open source model, versus the stuff that Devin uses, that's Claude and Anthropic. You have to be very careful. I just wanted to give a disclaimer, because if you're subscribing to Anthropic's Max plan for $100 or $200 a month, and you use that, it's called OAuth. If you use that login in OpenRoute, in OpenClaw, and Anthropic finds out, they'll ban your account. So just be very careful when you're using that, because they don't want people to use orchestration that's not co-work on their subscriptions. What you're seeing here is API-based LLM access. So how is that different? When you use an Anthropic subscription, $100 a month, they give you a lot of usage before they cut you off. You don't spend anything more. It's always $100 or $20 or $200 a month. That's your price, regardless of how much, how little. They do rate limit you, and they may say you have to wait till 9 p.m. at night. But that's safety, because it's the same price. When you go through an open router, that's API based. That means you're paying per consumption, right? So you want to have this concept of token efficiency. Not everything needs to be a reasoning model. Not everything has to be Opus 4.6 extended thinking capability. If Ben has a purchase order, he doesn't need Opus to read a purchase order PDF to do some OCR. You can probably go to a less intelligent model like Gemini Flash 2.5, which costs 30 times less. When you go to an open router setup to do this token efficiency, that's when people wake up with these $10,000, $12,000 bills is because they don't put rate limits and guardrails around usage. So that changes the scenario a little bit. And that's why token efficiency is going to be very important. So your costs don't go super variable and get out of control. This is going to give you that visibility. This is some of that observability stuff that I talked about, where if you're, I know you are in healthcare, right? So healthcare requires deterministic outputs. You can't make stuff up and then make healthcare decisions that affect the livelihood of patients based on a hallucination of a non-deterministic AI model. So you need to have, especially if there's anybody that works in governance or GRC that's in the room, governance, risk, or compliance, you need to have some traceability into how the AI model came up with that answer, right? What model did it use, right? How many tokens was it? What was the actual trace? How did it come up with a symptom for a patient and then use some article from NIH or whatever source or PubMed to then say, all right, here's the reasoning behind why I chose this particular article. So you can go back and have some accountability. So the stuff that Ben and Devin talk about, you need to have some type of tracing and some type of way to see why decisions were made. And this is called laying fuse, by the way. It's open source and it lets you be able to do that. Yep. Question. If you're not careful, yes, because they have a flag that does that. Devin, you have experience with that. You might have left the room, right? What was the experience with the banning of the Anthropic accounts? Because they found out there's a certain flag in your logs and they like just straight ban it because it's against their terms of service technically. So just tread carefully when you do that stuff. Give your agent. I'm not recommending you do this. I love Anthropic. Do not go against your terms and conditions. This is your own, right? Make your own decision. But if you're going to do that, use a different account so you don't ban your main Claude account. Yes. With Anthropic's OAuth, is there like anyone else here, or is it just anyone raise your hands? No. No. Okay. Ooh, lights. Sorry. Yeah.
Few people know that OpenClaw was bought out by OpenAI. Anyone know that? Okay. So Sam Altman said because he wanted to get back at Anthropic, he said, ChatGPT users, you can use your OAuth in OpenClaw, where Claude's terms of service says you cannot use it. So if anyone uses ChatGPT and you have an OAuth token through them, which you can get, and you have that subscription with them, you can use it because Sam Altman said, I want to keep OpenClaw open source so you could use any LLM in there. But obviously, he's trying to get people to use ChatGPT with OpenClaw. So
this is what OpenClaw looks like on the dashboard.
Yes. Yeah. So this is the OpenClaw dashboard. It's really, really, really cool, really simple when you set it up. I like to say like you could use this as a backup dashboard, like their main one. It's not where it needs to be at yet. It's not the sexiest thing, and that's why I tend to like use Telegram, or like you can chat with this agent or your agents through this actual platform. It doesn't work better or worse. It's just basically how you want to communicate. So Ben using Discord. Some people have gotten really ballsy and use their iMessages. Don't recommend that because it's your number. And I use Telegram. I like Telegram. I could message all different agents through there. I actually have 3 main agents right now. I say 3 main agents, but I have my one Jarvis, and then I have another one for my other business just to keep those contexts separate, which is really cool. You can have different identities and different workspaces for separate agents. So if I want one agent to call me Sir, and then the other agent to call me Devin, it will know when I'm using those agents, which ones in the memory file. So I think we're going to kick it off with questions as we're closing up and wrapping up. So if anyone has questions, feel free to raise them hands.
But because now I think these are like flip phones.
Just speak to
Question was, can you distinguish OpenClaw from
In like 2
Cowork,
years, we're gonna be
which
at-
is a product developed by the folks that created Claude? Cowork is,
So
I mentioned earlier that
I love
AI
it.
usage is going away from the browser where it's a chat
Right.
bot where you ask
Because
it
then, like,
questions, it
it's
tells you, and
more
then
mainstream.
you're the human assistant that
It's
does
gonna
the
be
task.
a
Cowork is an
competitor of
application you install locally on your Mac or Windows device,
Yeah.
and it's like a semi-agentic capability. Cowork is a software tool that's installed on your machine. It can interact with your files, right? Your downloads, documents, desktop files, your printers, your peripherals that you plug in. So it exits the browser and it can now interact locally with your computer. So if you want it to find some contract that's sitting in your downloads folder that you don't know the name of, it can search your downloads folder and serve it up to you and say, Sagar, is this the file you were looking for? You can't do that natively in ChatGPT on chatgpt.com. You can't do that on Claude.ai. So Cowork is like a half step to agentic capability. Think of Cowork like iOS. Apple has a very closed ecosystem, right? Stuff just works, but you can't be heavily modifying and customizing your Apple experience. It is what it is. OpenClaw, on the other hand, who's Android in the room? OpenClaw is like Android, right? A little bit rough, right? I mean, you can make customizations. Sometimes some scary stuff comes out in the Google Play Store, but you can customize it way more. So, is iPhone and iOS better than Android? It depends on the person. So, for you as an individual, do you prefer a closed ecosystem, one model provider? You don't have to worry about security. You can just be sure that it's safe, but you give up some of the savviness and the innovation. Cowork is an excellent step to do that. If you like living on the edge and you want to be like Ben and you want to try stuff with the right guardrails and have more control, man, OpenClaw is super powerful to be able to do that. Yeah, quick follow up.
What all is transferable to Cowork? So what all can be done through Cowork, and what are the ones that are outside the scope?
For they release new stuff every single day. They actually passed on this used to be called Claudebot. Would have been perfect if they would have just picked it up and they told the guy cease and desist, change the name. So then Sam Altman's like, hey bro, you can call it OpenClaw and then they'll be fine with it, right? So in terms of like what Cowork can do that can transfer, I would say things like accessing and managing local files on a computer, connecting into some basic services through an API to do some of the data extraction, maybe doing some research and scraping information, coming up with new ideas and developing some basic functionalities for automation. I think where OpenClaw stands out is it creates apps. It can do hosting of an app locally where you don't have to take it from Cowork and put it somewhere. There's just more automation and extension. There's more sophistication in some of the tools and things you can do that don't require human intervention every step of the way. Now, Anthropic's releasing stuff every minute of every day, man. And we could probably walk out of here and tomorrow, Anthropic's going to be like, hey, we got Awesome Claw, and it's going to be really good at this stuff. Awesome Claw. Question.
He actually showed me that earlier today. So I'm gonna go back. No, I haven't done it yet, but that's something I'm gonna go back home to, and I'm gonna do for my commercial shoots. Right when my team has something or goes into, it's gonna just like he did. It's gonna know, hey, if you have my team has 3 shoots on that day, it's gonna route them. It's gonna say, okay, 2 hours at this shoot. It's going to take we have a half day shoot here, 6 hours. It's going to figure out when the best scheduling is. And then I want to get it to where I can send this to the client and say, hey, here's the schedule that you have. Feel free to pick, because it's better customer service on them, where I'm not having to go back and forth, schedule this. I want to make my customers feel at ease with whatever I'm doing. So it's, seamless.
Right? Using basically AR as reading situation with your system.
Yeah.
So being from a non-technical background, how do you control that? Because you have so many agents coming on here agents, your technically can actually optimize output. So how do you monitor that as and probably
That's a good question. So with the self-healing, I only my main agent right now. It's not affecting, because that main agent is telling those to go do it, right? So the context that my main agent is giving out will depend on those agents that I'm doing. So I really need to self-heal on the main agents that's giving the task. It's not the ones doing it, it's the ones giving it out because he's the one creating the task for them to go do. Does that make sense? Okay. Anyone else?
RL and on OffSite. This is from a very brief reading of a blog post that I fully understand. Can a lot of security issues be mitigated by using an FCP or running OpenClaw on a VM for to AWS and having like I know there's like IAM roles you can do. It's like can you kind of put yourself to the bed a little bit by
Operational security is his question. Can you be more thoughtful and be a steward of sensitivity across data and access if you migrate the installation of OpenClaw from a Mac Mini that's kind of homebrewed, right, to a more sophisticated deployment on like a cloud like AWS, Google, Azure, and then use what we call role-based access control, where IAM, Identity Access Management, where you go in and say, okay, OpenClaw, you're on Amazon. You're not going to get any remote admin access to the machine you're installed in. I'm going to give you your own email address, and I'm only going to give you limited access to 2 softwares via API, REST API, and make it read only. Absolutely. The problem with OpenClaw is not the place where it's installed. Someone else had asked a question, can you go through like networking or other examples to make OpenClaw safer? The problem with OpenClaw being a security risk is that you're giving it unfettered read, write, admin access to your data. So you can store it on a Mac that hasn't been patched in 6 months and doesn't have a local login password. But if you give it super admin to your Google tenant where you have 12 employees and you're using an open source model that may not have like prompt injection protection, then it may run into some trouble and take action on your behalf that would cause some unintended outcome. So it's less about like the infrastructure choice. It's more about the access that you're giving it. So IAM, Identity Access Management, is super important. And if you can build that, it doesn't matter where you host it because you're going to have guardrails that prevent it from going off the rails anyway. Sure.
OpenClaw play free? Is there any systems where I do work with a few web apps where there's not an API key? Is there like ghost keyboard functionality in OpenClaw where you can read the screen and then take the data and scrape? Talk to this guy.
This is an awesome use case that I had. I had 3 tasks due at the same time. On top of it, I had a meeting that I had to do. And I had all 3 monitors up. I had my main one on a meeting. I said, okay, how am I going to get these 3 tasks done? OpenClaw. And I said, I needed to build out a Google form, right? And Google form, I don't think was released yet with the Google Console API to be into OpenClaw, so it could just go build the form for me. And I have a separate monitor for my OpenClaw, and I was able to say, hey, I need this Google form built out. It was 30 questions. I had to send it over to one of my clients just to get a questionnaire from them. And as I am taking this meeting, I look to my right, and it literally is building, like it looked like someone was there doing the work manually. I see the mouse moving on the screen. I see it, and it got completely done while I was able to take that, and it drafted the email with the Google form attached link to it and sent it to the client when I was ready to do it.
It's native. What he's talking about is a little bit of RPA, robotic process automation, where the AI moves your mouse keyboard on your behalf. I'm the pessimistic security guy up here. When you're using certain websites, love you LinkedIn, but man, you're sometimes very hard to use. This is called headless headless usage, headless browser. They track because an AI, when it moves a mouse, it goes straight from one corner of the screen right to the button. Where a human, you're probably like, woo, woo, right? So there's headless detection on apps. So if they don't have an API and they have headless detection built in, you know what they're doing? That's a data exfiltration mitigation strategy. They don't want you pulling stuff out because they know AI agents are going to do that. So they make it really hard, right? And the moats of, the moat in the AI era is data, right? So if you slow down people's ability to extract it with automations and APIs and MCPs, which I believe is an intentional decision, you're stuck in that software, right? So maybe that's a defensive strategy for enterprise software companies because they don't want people vibe coding their own CRMs and extracting stuff all at once. So you have to be careful when you do this headless automation. Could get you gonna have a bad time if you don't do it correctly.
A little bit more with that headless. So just be cautious. Make sure that you do some research and say, like, is this something that they are allowing? LinkedIn has actually published multiple times we do not want automation embedded because it's a business platform where connection should be real and not having to send 1,000 cold leads reviews through that. So that's why they actually ban a lot of like third-party platforms for LinkedIn and companies.
Or not just on the method, but itself on very for different people.
So what was the question?
You might want to ask for to find people in very
Yeah.
different people to ban it.
No. So you can actually LinkedIn knowingly. They have an API now, so you can go in and actually get certain APIs from them that you can allow to pull from LinkedIn. But it has nothing to do with sending messages. It has nothing to do. If you need to find someone, that's fine, right? But if you're trying to send cold emails and have it manage your inbox for you, it's not going to do that. It will do it, but just don't get banned. Tread on thin waters.
Any limits with what OpenClaw can build? Is there anything it hasn't been built?
In the sense of LinkedIn? Yeah. So the question was, have I ran into anything that I haven't been able to build in the software sense or capabilities? Yeah. No. And that's why I really, really like telling people to open your mind. You feel like a little kid when you're using this because you're like, holy cow. Like, I can literally build a software with just a thought now.
We live in an era where software is built with natural language. You just speak what you want. It's going to build it. And I know there's software developers either in the audience or watching. It's pretty damn good. It's like 80% of the way there. You talk to people at Anthropic, Boris, who's the creator of Claude Code, Andre Karpathy, you guys know who that guy is. He's like, I haven't written code since December. So he's just speaking, and they dictate via voice, right? I built, which I'm not going to show you because it's my secret sauce. I built a pen testing tool that uses some very specific threat intelligence sources, some OSINT, which is operational security intelligence, open source security intelligence, and it does some really specific things for companies to help them build a security posture before they buy a cyber insurance policy. I built that with Claude Code. It's hosted somewhere on the cloud, and it has the ability to do an outside invasive security audit that you can give to a security team, and they're like, this is incredible. And I'm now going to the point where there's an open framework called Metasploit, which allows you to then exfiltrate and take advantage of a vulnerability. Claude Code is like, yeah, I could rebuild my own vulnerability exploitation tool, and it can spit out a generated report. So you know what Dr. Evil would probably do? Run this tool across every IP address on the internet, find open ports on servers, see who the owners are, take a screenshot, make it an email, and send him a link that says, click here if you want to solve this security issue that you have. Right? So it's giving us now the ability to recreate things that would have normally taken millions of dollars, months and years to build, right? And just a room full of people that would have had to work together. Software engineering is just getting to a point where it's accessible to good people and the bad people. So you have to be very mindful. This is a two-sided game. We're talking.
Awesome too. I remember, when Ben got this and I was telling him the capabilities, he was using it for a couple of days and he's like, I wonder if it could do my SEO. And I'm like, it can. And he's like, I wonder if it could do my website. And I was like, can. And he's like, well, I'm paying $1,000 a month for this. And what did he do? He told his agent, hey, can you go through my email and find any receipts of invoices for things that you can do and build out? And can you cancel that subscription?
Yeah, it emailed the people for me and actually canceled the subscription with them. And then once one of them actually billed me again, and then it sent me a message. It said, hey, we canceled this, but they still billed you. Do you want me to send them another email?
And now this is something Ben is saving worth $2,000 a month on that now he has the capabilities from the agent and it's all tailored to him.
Yep.
Something
It
that I
sends me an
love.
SEO report. It puts an SEO report in my Google Drive and sends me an email every week to show me what it's done.
Something that I love doing because Sagar sent me a software and he's like, look at this. So what did I do? I gave it to my agent. I said, can you build this? Can you do this for me? And can you make it tailored towards me? It did it. Way better. The software was $120 a month. Now I'm being efficient with what I'm doing, and now it's more tailored towards me and my business. Now, having the context of my business, having the goals of where I want to be, now building the software in mind, hey, Devin's going to need X, Y, and Z for this, but we're going to take the idea and platform with this software company, and we're going to make our own, and we're going to make it better.
One thing I just want to share with you guys, like I work with customers on AI stuff every minute of every day. And there's no way even people that are on the bleeding edge of stuff can keep up with this stuff. And what I will tell you, come in with this, like I said earlier, curiosity and ambition, okay, around AI. But you don't need to learn all the tools all the time. They change every hour of every day. Think about your behaviors. Whatever industry you operate in, if you're a marketing company that's like sweating right now because OpenClaw is about to eat your lunch, lean into the behaviors of your marketing company. What are you doing that can be efficient? How can your $2,000 a month contract be 98% margin because you're also using AI? And I think people expect their vendors to use AI, just like how we expect people to use the internet now. That's going to become a thing. So keeping up with the tools, you're always going to be on this hamster wheel of these engagement farmers on Twitter and on LinkedIn that say, oh my God, if you're not using this tool, what are you even doing with your life? That's a waste of time. Think about behaviors. Ben talked about scheduling. Before OpenClaw, he was scheduling manually, but he thought about his behavior of how he schedules and he figured out how to outsource it to a machine with the appropriate guardrails.
Yeah,
So,
oh, sorry.
no, go ahead.
My options were hire somebody to do it, which is going to cost, I don't know how much a year, a lot more than this, or I keep doing it myself. So you guys saw what I had, but where that's going, once I get that thing solid, it's going to be calling the customers for me and scheduling. It's going to be texting them. It's going to be interacting with the customers on its own. And if it needs input from me or the technicians, it checks with us to find out if we could do that job that day, if it's not sure. And then it gets back with the customer. So it's replacing a human, as bad as that sounds, but that's exactly what it's doing. It's going in, finding out what needs to be done, doing it on its own.
It's not perfect. It makes mistakes. It hallucinates. It breaks. It's rough around the edges, right? But if you can think about your behaviors, what do you do on a daily basis that causes pain? And what I define pain as, it takes too much time, costs too much money, or it can't be easily reproduced. If you can think about what's painful for you, and you can figure out how to recreate that in a machine with OpenClaw or CoWork or whatever, once you change that behavior, once you get the people in the room that are entrepreneurs that have employees on payroll, be the leader and be that model of how they should act, right? Give them a chance to experiment. Create a safe space for them. Don't like slap them on the wrist and create an AI usage policy and ban them from doing stuff. They're going to do this shit on their own then, on their own device. And then they're going to access your corporate data on their personal computers. And then what are you going to do, right? So give people the chance to experiment with behaviors as well. Yes.
So for my day job, I use Opus 4.6. Like a lot of stuff we do is built off of Opus 4.6, and as sophisticated as it is, like you're saying, it's like hallucinating. Sometimes they'll do like analyses that are super plausible but incredibly wrong, and so we go through a lot of this like really intense eval process for anything that we put into production based on 4.6. So like now when I think about like personal use for my own business goals and stuff, like when you guys are using OpenClaw, like, do things you have to, how are you guys kind of like if and when things go wrong, tracking that, doing the putting state parts of the system exist?
Lydia, you want me to go?
I mean, this goes back to the self healing, the self optimization. If it's getting a lot of stuff wrong, like let's say if you had a markdown file or a skill for all the things that it's getting wrong, it's going to take notes of that. It's going to train itself to get all of these things that it's getting wrong. It's going to correct them and get them right every single day. So that's
You got this thing wrong.
no,
Are you
it knows because I'm going through at 9 p.m. at night. It's going through because that's usually when I shut off the business and I go hang with my wife and do scenes. It's gonna know, okay, I'm gonna go through the last 24 hours that I had conversations with Devin, and I'm gonna see all the things that he said I got wrong with, and I'm gonna take note of them and then update that within my files in memory. Does that make sense? So the next day, I'm not saying you got this wrong again. It's something new. So every single day it's getting better, right? And that's the things that people don't think about when setting this up is you have to think about these things in ways that how can my agent get better? How can it train? And setting up self-healing, setting up memory refinement tools is really, really good. And that's how your agent gets really, really good at things where they're not, again, if you're having multiple mistakes, this is where that comes into play, right? It's not perfect, right? If AI was perfect, I don't even think we'd be here right now. But you still have that tools and refinement and automation that you can set up to then make your agents really, really good.
Consistent communication with it, right?
Yeah, correct. It's just like you can't expect an employee to like be really good at their job if you're meeting with them once a month, right? So it's the same thing. If I'm checking in with an employee daily saying, hey, this is where we got wrong today, this is where we need to fix it, come in tomorrow with these things in mind that you got wrong, guaranteed, maybe an employee slips through the cracks, but with an AI, it literally goes before it gives you an output. It's going to read the memory and it's going to say, okay, I got this wrong. We need to go at a different approach so I don't get it wrong, right? Because we ran into that issue yesterday.
More questions? Yeah. Kind of more like topics we're talking about. There's there's a zillion things going on day to day, right? You don't have that service going on. But if you told yourself like 6 months, a year ago, how would you allocate your time kind of like a learning path, right? If I have a goal, I want to build an agent, I want to learn about machine learning, how would you dedicate the time to really maximize, I guess, productivity and to
The question was, how do you know where to spend your time? Because you don't know what's going to come out in 6 to 12 months from now. 100% of my, 99% of my time is by doing, trying, experimenting, breaking things, making mistakes. The other 1%, I spend 3-4 hours a night, 7 days a week, every day for the last year. I've been just consuming AI knowledge. What's going on in the market? Who's releasing things? What are some reports on what others are doing, right? But the only way you're going to get better at something is by trying stuff. You could read all the books you want on OpenClaw. You can read all the blog articles and read all the case studies. But until you're in it and you break an MCP or an API and you're on at 2 a.m. figuring out why Google charged you $1,000 last month, you're not really going to get it, right? So 99% of my experience has been just doing stuff. And that is, I think, the best teacher is by doing things.
I actually, I want to become fluent in AI as I hope to be to you guys. I actually said I want to learn. How do I learn AI better? And Jarvis said, okay, well, I'm going to go through X. I'm going to go through every single day, and I'm going to deliver you 3 tips on AI that you can implement within your business and a real use case within your business. And some of the stuff that I've been able to learn just off of those tips of having it scheduled at 9 a.m. for me to read, when I'm doing my opening up to work and doing stuff, and I say, wow, that's a really, really good tip. I'm going to keep that in mind. And then at 3 p.m., I have my AI tip 2 coming. And it will actually pull like, hey, this tip is really good off of the sales call that you just had. This is something we could implement. And this opens my mind to the use cases, right? There's so many different ways. And the thing that I was talking to some people, I said, what is how can I get really good at AI? By asking AI, how do I get really good at this? How do I understand you in a way that I can, the best thing that I do with this is I literally say, hey, I have this problem or I want to learn AI. Tell me it to me like I'm a 10-year-old. And it dumbs it down to where I'm like, that makes sense. Where if you tell me like I'm a 24-year-old and I'm like, okay, I just want to understand it so I can actually put 2 and 2, or like give me a story or give me something that I can actually understand and stick with. That's something that I tend to do. That prompt really works. Like, explain it to me like I'm a 10-year-old, and it will do it.
Before I found out about OpenClaw, I spent like the past couple months using Claude Code and building a interface that runs on my computer, and it allows me to do multiple like automations through the API keys. The issue is I gave it like the ability to like control my computer through like different applications already, and then I heard about OpenClaw and I was like, bro. So do I go into OpenClaw or do I just improve? Because the only thing I haven't built is the sub agents.
Okay, so here's what you do.
What was the question?
Give them.
So yeah. So basically, the question was, I built something on Claude Code about 3 months, and then I heard OpenClaw came out. How do I get that over? Do I get that over? Is it even worth? Put it into OpenClaw and say, hey, I want to build out these sub agents, and I want to make this platform even better, and it will do that, right? So I've done that multiple times. Where in the beginning, I have a website that I built in Claude Code because OpenClaw didn't come out yet, and I said, you know what? Let's go back to OpenClaw with this website that I already developed. And I put it into OpenClaw, and it found some issues. It found some formatting issues. It found maybe some spacing issues that it said, and then it fixed it right then and there. Where Claude Code, you're having to go in, you're having to manually press yes, yes, okay, approve this, click this. I don't have time to just sit there and approve multiple things as I'm going. If I can give it to OpenClaw, put my phone down, go a 5-minute task or whatever I need to do, come back and it's fixed, I'd rather do that than sitting there, press yes, yes, yes.
Like vision in a sense.
Yeah, because it has context, because Claude Code doesn't have full context on who you are or what your business is. Where if you put it in, it might say, hey, Isaac, this is a really, really good platform, but because I know that you want to hit X, Y, and Z in your business or your goals, or you have this set of clients, maybe we should add this feature. Maybe we should take away this feature. Where Claude Code, you have to tell it, hey, every single time you open a new thing, if you don't have SolMD files or an identity to pull from, you have to manually tell it to do that. And then you have to sit there for 5 to 10 minutes like a chatbot and press yes, 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 approve this. Where again, OpenClaw, you give it that and it's set it and forget.
And what it's going to give you is like orchestration to have everything in one place. OpenClaw does that nicely, right? And that's going to give you just ability to then scale and do things that you can't do individually in the machine. So everybody, we're going to still be here for a little bit. Thank you for coming by today. Hopefully it opened up your minds on some of the OpenClaw capabilities. Thank you so much. Shout out to AI Collective, Mary. Shout out to Che for the live stream, always helping us out. All of you, stay curious, stay ambitious. And if you need help with OpenClaw, let us know. Come find us.